welcome to another MCU episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin. I don't have any quotes today. Who's with me tonight?
Michael K. Hughes. You didn't see that coming?
And Bill Tucker. Three of us unprepared.
Yes. And Michael, you should introduce this movie because this is actually the whole reason how you ended up doing this MCU thing with me in the first place.
Yeah, when you originally pitched that you wanted to do MCU movies, I'm like, well, keep me in mind for Age of Ultron, because it was my favorite MCU movie for a long, long time. So yeah, we are taking a look at the Avengers Age of Ultron.
2015 movie.
Yeah, indeed.
Kind of surprised they didn't call it like Avengers 2 or something, Age of Ultron.
This is around that time when a lot of movies drop numbers on sequels, and it's something that's continued on into I would say into 2020, but what are movies this year? I don't know. But
was it only the Iron Man movies that had numbers?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But also a lot of movies drop. Like there are other, like Jurassic World, for example. Jurassic World is not called Jurassic World 2, it's Jurassic World something. Like that's become a normal thing, I feel like, in sequels and movies. They don't give it a number, they just give it a different subtitle. So you don't feel like, oh, I didn't see 1, 2, or 3, so I can't watch 4. But if you throw a subtitle in it, people are like, oh, I'll watch this. Like it had to have been the science behind why that changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, didn't Guardians of the Galaxy have it too?
Yeah.
Oh, Volume 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Volume 2. Okay, yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I tried to forget that movie existed.
We'll get there.
We will get there.
Not
We
that
will
far
get
off.
there. It's lovely. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're almost done with Phase 2. We got this in the next one.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, yeah. Which is also, if I remember correctly, being delightful. But yeah, Age of Ultron, the return of Joss Whedon as director, taking the helm again. And yeah, this is the tentpole of the Phase 2, I guess, right? It's this and I guess Winter Soldier, really, but this is like the big capstone of the Phase 2, the big transition movie. And so when did you guys all see this in theaters? Because I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did too. I saw it with I was supposed to go see it with my girlfriend at the time, but I think she didn't go with me, and I did see it when it came out.
Yeah, I have a movie group that I watch movies with, and the guy who organizes the group, it's like 10 or 12 people, he'll buy the tickets for everybody. You just gotta let him know you're coming. And of course he goes to all the big Marvel movies. He's a huge Marvel guy, big Star Wars guy, so he goes to all of them. And he always gets opening weekend, always. And he gets them the second they come out, and it's usually like 1 PM on a Saturday, and usually he's seen it twice already. So he shows up, he's gone to the midnight showing, he went Friday, he's gone Saturday. But this time for Age of Ultron, he got the only time slot he could get was midnight. It was like an 11:30 start time. And I remember being very late. I remember thinking, oh God, this is so long. It is it's the longest movie so far in the MCU. I think only Avengers, maybe a minute or two longer. But
it's 2 hours, 21 minutes, according to IMDb.
Yeah, and it's a long movie, and I remember just walking out of there so tired, 2 AM. So I think when I first saw it, I was not in the best mind state of just that kind of exhaustion. God, it is late. I think that might have colored some of my original opinion. But yeah, so that was my first experience with it. What'd you guys think about it today? Just quick generalities before we jump into the beat by beat.
I want to save mine for the end because I feel like we've been building this up over the course of many episodes. But my color in my opinion on this movie.
I'm just going to say that I was surprised at my opinion.
Wow.
I was very surprised in my opinion, and I'd like to publicly apologize to Hawkeye. I'm very, very sorry for all the mean things I said.
He's such a badass in this movie.
Because I like you quite a bit.
He also has the best costume of all his costumes throughout the MCU in this movie, because the closest you're ever going to get to the Hawkeye costume.
I just remember him wearing black, and then a flannel shirt when he's
purple
home.
In that black. There's a purple stripe that goes down in his long skirt in his outfit he wears in the end of the movie.
Okay. Well, yeah, they all have their fancy outfits towards the end, but it's I not to spoil it, I really enjoyed this. Awesome. I think this is really good. This is good on a lot of levels. Not perfect, but it's yeah.
It's no Winter Soldier. It's no Guardians, but it's
different than Guardians. I mean,
above Thor, and it's definitely above Iron Man 3. So
yeah. I mean, it's middle of the road in a bunch of really good movies, again, other than Iron Man 3. So being middle of the road of very good is,
Oh, you just
yeah, Winter
skip.
Soldier is that's, I think, not untouchable, but that definitely is the best. And this and Guardians are so different in what purpose and tone and scope. It's hard to compare the two. So I don't know. I'd have to give it some thought, to be honest with you.
No,
I
pina
really
colada
enjoyed
song.
this.
So you don't have to work. You don't have to get caught in the rain or anything. So this should help this movie step up then.
This is fair. This is fair.
I keep
So-
thinking about that joke. And I've forgotten in the last episode, I started singing the wrong Pina Colada song. I was singing two Pina Coladas. I'm like, oh wait, the wrong song.
I wasn't
didn't
gonna
even
stop
catch
you. Any change you make to that song is probably an improvement. So I mean,
Well, it's
whatever.
a Garth Brooks song that I was confusing with the Pina Colada song.
Yes, Caught in the Rain. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to kind of going through it and explaining why, because it's a good movie. Sorry, guys.
We also like this movie starts off with a bang, is the easiest way to put it, and it has. As I've been rewatching all the MCU for the show, this is really one of the only times you ever see. Well, it is the only time you ever see this team of Avengers being the Avengers as a team, as a unit. When it opens up and they're attacking Von Strucker's base, like you never really get to see that again in the same way you do in this first part.
It's really like the only time they're all together and they're not infighting. It seems like,
Yes.
I guess the end of the first Avengers, it was like that, but
Yeah, but they weren't a cohesive unit yet. They just became
Yeah.
one. But this is them being a unit, being a team, fighting together, and executing a mission.
I
Yeah.
love this cold open. It's so good.
It's really great. It showcases again a lot of the stuff. It's a reminder of what they can do. Here's what this person can do. Here's this person's abilities. Yeah, as a I think it shows them being efficient as a team, which, like you guys said, they're a very efficient group. They can read each other's movements. Captain America will throw a shield and someone will do a thing with it and he'll get it back, and just lots of teamwork. And they of course had the movie poster shot of all of them leaping over a tank or something in the slow-mo, which I mean hasn't, even though it's only 5 years old, it's still, that kind of hasn't aged great, but it's a very effective reintroduction. Like, let's get to the punching and the smacking. And again, a lot of punching and smacking against, woefully ill-equipped enemies. And for the most part, you're punching and smacking mostly ill-equipped enemies in this movie, but they do it in such a creative, fun, and vibrant way that it was very satisfying. It was fun.
No, it's surprisingly, like, the Hydra troops are fun to fight, to see them fight. I'm gonna say fun to fight, and like they in this early part, like they find a way to give everybody a little scene, like everyone's doing something of this team, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the start of this.
Cap on the motorcycle, just everything about that. Everything Cap does in this movie is badass. It's so cool.
And his costume is also probably my favorite so far, with the extra red in the center. It's the best costume so far, because each movie they changed it just a little, just to sell you more toys.
Yeah. Well, you gotta do that. Those
And new
Funko
Funko
Pops.
Pops.
Don't you can't
Oh.
just there you go.
I have the Thor from this movie, Age of Ultron Funko Pop, on sitting not too far from me.
Nice.
So
Yeah, very effective open. Very effective. And we get inside the base where Von Strucker, is that right? I just put him, of course,
Yeah.
as weird glasses guy. Yeah.
Okay, Baron von Strucker in the comics, and like for a long time, was somebody who was a Nazi, who was in World War II, who then, when Cap comes back in the 60s, who's now older, he's a big Cap villain. I mean, this is a completely different take on him, because he couldn't have been a Nazi because he'd be, not in his 50s.
Yeah, and I is this the scene where he's kind of like doing the classic "no surrender," and then he goes to his guard or general. Okay, we're getting out of here. Like, no, we're surrendering.
I'm
here.
going to surrender.
I'm surrendering. It's over.
I don't like Strucker. I mean, I don't like what they did with him in this movie. Like, they didn't do. I mean, they wasted the character. Like, you see him in the end in that cameo shot in the end of Winter Soldier, I think.
Yeah, the end credits, right?
Maybe one of those movies. I can't. It's been too long.
Yeah.
And you see him there, and it's like you think, okay, he's going to be a big bad in something, but he's really he's not. I mean, he's in the first 20 minutes of this movie, and then he's gone.
He's got more screen time as a villain than Crossbone does in Civil War.
Wait till I got an opinion for that one too when we get there.
I don't even know who you're talking about, so hey, all right.
Brock Rumlow from Winter Soldier, the guy that fought Falcon when the building's collapsing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy.
That's
Yeah.
The brisket guy.
The brisket guy. Brisket boy. Yes. Okay.
I do want to comment. I really like the magnetic thing that Cap has now on his gauntlet that brings the shield back to him. I really like that.
That's a cool improvement. Yeah, very cool. Again, just opens up more possibilities. And again, very neat opening scene where you have all these cool ways. And it's very cool how Captain America keeps figuring out new ways to use a very limited tool set. He just has a shield and some jumping powers, but he always has a new inventive way to use them, which is super fun to watch.
Oh, and another thing they do in this movie, sorry, Mike, constantly is like dual attacks. Like it's a video game. They're constantly attacking off each other to hurt other people.
Mm-hmm. Like here later on this scene where Thor's like, "Oh, they're lining up," and Cap says, "Yeah, well, they're excited." And then Thor uses Mjolnir and hits the shield, and it sends out that shockwave. It's so cool.
Very good. It's very good.
I had forgotten how often they do that in this movie. All the fucking time.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Gotta capitalize on that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 teamwork fusion thing that everyone knows about, right?
I do. I still never played that game, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, I don't know why. I own it. Multiple copies of it. I have never played it yet.
Wow.
Tune for that one, listeners.
Indeed.
Yeah, someday, sure.
Bill, you talk about Cap's limited moveset, but he still manages to do just insane things, like when he's riding that bike and he just flips off it and throws it into the what is it, a Jeep, I think?
Yeah, yes.
He said everything Cap does in this movie is super badass. It's so cool.
Yeah, yes. I'm glad you brought that up because that was an extremely cool thing. Even I kind of went, ooh. Oh, wow, okay.
One thing we have to mention before we get too far, which plays an entire part of like why this movie is kind of the way it is Man of Steel came out in 2013, and a lot of people bitched about Man of Steel where he doesn't care. No one's getting rescued. Everybody's just dying in these buildings, and he's a terrible person. And if you look at like BVS and you look at this movie, they are constantly saving civilians. Like, oh, we got to have scenes of civilians being saved all the time. And it's because of all the Man of Steel hatred that came out after that movie came out in 2013.
Was that really a reason
I'm
for
pretty sure that's
saving?
A real thing. I don't think I'm making this up or like buying any rumors. I do feel like there was so much hatred that came out of that they kind of put that in movies. Like in BVS, there's a line where the city's empty in that area. So Doomsday, like I'm pretty sure it's a real thing. And it wasn't just me making this up.
Interesting.
It fits the tone of this movie too, because you're always talking about how the Avengers are more trouble than they're worth, but it shows them going out of their way to actually do their jobs too.
Right. And do the right thing, so to speak. Yeah, and Man of Steel's garbage. It's for exactly that reason. So I mean, the people aren't wrong. So it's interesting that they took cues from that and said, "Ooh, we should probably insert a little more gallantry, and saving the day sort of thing." And it meets with the theme, like you said, the fact that at some point here they're more trouble than they're worth, right? And it meets very well with the themes. It's pulled off well.
I fell asleep during Man of Steel.
How? It's so noisy. It's constantly making noise. It's a kid's cartoon.
I think it was at a drive-in. It was the second movie, so by then I was...
by then it would have been 4 hours past your bedtime, so of course.
Oh, this was years ago before I worked first shift.
Never mind then.
Gotcha. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, that movie is so loud. I could snooze through it, but happens. White noise.
And now that we watched all these movies consecutively, which I think also gives us one thing fun about this project, gives us a different take on these movies. Like when the Iron Legion gets sent in, all Iron Man's little robots, I'm like, oh, okay, it makes more sense to me because I've just seen Iron Man 3 like 2 months ago. So I'm like, okay, or maybe a month ago, I can't remember, but it makes sense. Like, okay, I'm like, this is okay now because you see the evolution of what he was doing. And I remember where when I saw Age of Ultron, I didn't remember what happened in 2012. I was like, I had no recollection of Iron Man 3, so I didn't realize how this was continuing that saga.
You're probably just trying to block out that movie.
I did. I hated it.
Possibly. Very possibly.
Hated it the first time I saw it.
That's cool. The Iron Legion's pretty good. Obviously, it's I do like the fact that no one really wants him there. They're all throwing stuff at him. They're throwing acid at him and like melting their faces, and it's very interesting. Yeah. What's that?
Where did the acid come from? I was very confused. I was like, what did he throw on him?
It was like an acid of some sort. I don't know.
You're right, though, because it does melt him.
Yeah, it melts his face. I don't know. Robot juice. I have no idea. But it was kind of cool. It's like, again, the first sign of maybe the Avengers aren't universally loved. This peacekeeping, quote unquote, group who really is single-mindedly going after, Hydra, right? And trying to find Loki's scepter. Not everyone's a big fan. And I can see that being really a thing. especially in our current climate. We're recording this in July. I actually want to say a quick hi to Future Bill in probably November. I don't know when this is going to air. Hey,
I don't know
Future
either.
Bill, are you still alive? I'm just curious because as the world completely evolved into civil war, because I don't know. I'm just curious. I want to look back on this in 6 months and be like, oh yeah, simpler times. I remember when it was just worrying about going out. But anyway, it was interesting. I like that. I like that little piece of it.
Civil War's in phase 3. We'll get there.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it's not too timely.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, let's bring it back to the fun
now.
stuff.
I kind of wonder if they wanted this to be like Latveria instead of Sokovia, because like the what's the word? The citizens, I guess, of Latveria, they actually look up to Doom. He's actually a decent leader. So it would make sense that those people wouldn't want the Avengers there, because like, hey, we got someone that takes care of us. We don't need you. But
Also,
of course,
December,
we all know.
to answer your question,
Oh.
Wait, sorry, say again.
December is probably when this will be up.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Sorry,
Hi,
Mike.
Future Bill.
Sorry,
Nice to hope
That's
you're
all right.
doing well.
What you
Hope
were
you're
saying?
getting some sleep, Future Bill.
That's about the end of it. Just we know that Fox has all the Fantastic Four stuff at the time.
Yeah, which
so.
I agree with you. I didn't think about that when we were talking when I was watching this, but that would make so much sense and also would lead into bringing Doom into the MCU, because you have like this fake country Sokolovia, which feels like just some Russian eastern country of the Soviet Union at one time.
Yeah, fake country.
What country or what continent is it supposed to be in? Do they ever
Never
say?
says.
No, they don't say.
But they
It's
do get to Korea pretty easily at one point. I'm gonna assume Asia, just based on the dialect and the way people like the terrible accent that Elizabeth Olsen has in this movie for the first part,
Yeah.
and the fact that we already know, thanks to the Hawkeye comic, that if you're a Russian and you're wearing a tracksuit, you got to be Russian.
Oh dear
That's
God.
true. That's true. It's
No
very
one will
true.
hear that because it doesn't.
No,
exist.
no one will hear that. Thank God. That was bad.
Indeed.
Yeah, I wonder if it's supposed to be like some kind of subset of Germany or something, because like it would make sense to have Hydra troops kind of staying close to Germany. So I assume that's where Red Skull was situated in his Hydra days.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. It could be. I'm assuming it's somewhere in that Eastern Bloc, that kind of Yugoslavia-ish area, Czechoslovakia type of place. My assumption, but it's a place in some mountains.
Central,
thing happens to.
southeastern Europe, bordered by Slovakia and the Czech Republic, supposedly.
Ah, see, Czech Republic. Boom.
So yeah,
Nailed it.
I just found it while you were looking. I found the wiki where it says where it exists.
Cool. Good deal. So, so now we're getting to the point where we get introduced to Scarlet Witch, and I kept calling him Flash Kid. I could not remember his name, and I don't think they say his name at all in this
No,
movie.
they never.
No.
They never call him Quicksilver.
They don't call him Quicksilver. Okay,
They weren't
so-
allowed to.
Is
I'm
this
pretty
another
sure.
one of those goofy Fox, WB, whoever
Yeah,
owns
okay,
the rights?
Let me.
God
my glasses
almighty,
here,
just get it
sir.
together.
Yeah, break some
The
knowledge out on this, Mike.
I think I said this a little bit in Guardians, but I'm going to say it here again because it's more important here. Is that the only reason Scarlett Johansson, or not Scarlett, the only reason why Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are even in this movie is because when Joss Whedon was a kid and he read the Avenger comics, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were Avengers. That happens in Avengers 16, by the way, in the 60s. And so he's like, if I'm making a second movie, I have to have my Avenger team I remember as a kid. So they got permission from Fox to use Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I forget what the deal was, but there was they had to trade something off for it, but they got permission to use those characters. And as you see, as time goes on, X-Men kept Quicksilver and doesn't really do anything with Witch, and that's why MCU does stuff with Witch, because the reason as this movie progresses, the way it ends is because Fox changed their deal and said, no, you're not. We're using Quicksilver. You can't use him too. We don't want to confuse the audiences that both people who played in the movie Kick-Ass are both playing Quicksilver characters. No.
But this is so insane because
It's stupid as hell.
it's insane. Like you can't no takebacks when it's like a playground, like trading baseball cards. Like I got 3 Babe Ruths in a Dojo DiMaggio. Can I have 2 of your X-Men characters? So they never refer to them as Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver. Again, I can't.
They call her a witch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never actually call her Scarlet Witch. It's always just Wanda.
Wow. So it's just Wanda. I kept writing down Wanda. I knew it was Scarlet Witch. I could not remember. I'm like, this is Quicksilver. It's not Silver Surfer. He has a surfboard. No, it's Quicksilver. Yes. Okay.
Different character.
Whole different character.
Yeah,
But,
we'll get
very
there
good.
too.
They don't own him either at this point.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's no reason to, because we all know how this movie ends. And if you don't, watch it and then come back. But yeah,
We gotta acknowledge the running joke here too. The language, Because I think the first spoken line in the movie is Tony swearing,
Yes.
It's
and then
early.
Cap calls him out on it.
Language. Yeah.
Language.
Very.
I laughed my ass off when I saw this movie in theaters, and now I'm just like, eh.
Like the jokes landed for me way more than they did in Avengers. Like it felt like they weren't trying as hard as they were in Avengers, like just enough.
Yep.
They're definitely
All right.
trying hard.
I gotta
Yeah.
say this. I enjoyed this more than the first Avengers in this recent watch.
Awesome.
I can't say I enjoyed it more, but I would enjoy it on a different level, in a different
hated
way.
First
I enjoyed it in a
Avengers
different way.
this time, so I don't know what was wrong with me that day.
I don't know. Okay. Well, Joss Whedon really dials down the Wheatonness of this
Yeah.
movie. Like, there's less Wheaton in it, and like you said, Michael, it's much better integrated into the script and into the story, into the personalities. The personalities of these characters are pretty well set, at this point for the most part. We spent a lot of time developing other characters, but it's definitely just woven into it better, and we'll point out those moments as we go through. But yeah, I imagine as soon as he starts flying, he goes, I forget what the line was, but he says shit, and
Yeah, I think he runs into the force field.
yeah, he goes, oh shit, and then all I imagined was like a group of parents with their 8-year-olds next to him, immediately going and like
Covering their ears.
and then checking their phones real quick. Is this PG? Like PG? This is an R-rated movie, is it? So yeah. But
It's stupid.
I
mean,
It's fine.
it's an attention getter.
Yeah, and you figure at this point, like, it's more believable because they've been a team for however long. So I guess they would have that
It's been
familiarity and banter.
I think it's been at least a few years from between Avengers and Age of Ultron. Like even in their world, it's been a few years. Like they make a line early in this movie how they've been raiding different places.
Yep.
And they're finally finding the staff. And the staff, for those that don't know, the staff is taken away in the end of Avengers when they give it to Shield. Well, Shield is Hydra, so it disappears, and they don't figure that out until after Winter Soldier.
Right. And they're just getting the staff back. Yeah, they make it very clear they've been doing this for a while now.
Oh, so what did you think about when poor Hawkeye gets shot when Quicksilver first shows up and they almost kill him?
I didn't like him yet, so I was like, all right, it's fine.
I figured. I've forgotten how much they foreshadow his death in this movie.
Oh man, it's so hammered in. Like I
It
have
really
multiple notes about it.
It really is. Again, this is a second watching kind of thing, obviously, but yeah, him getting tagged and then of course Hawkeye going down. Yeah, it's a neat moment. It's cool to see. It was cool to see again what these two new characters can do, and you have to again as a movie. You introduce them. They're the twins. They're the prized possessions, and it's cool. I like a fast guy doing fast things, so I'm into that. He was cool. It's again kind of limited move set. He just moves fast, and there was one moment where in this moment he catches the arrow, right? Like Hawkeye shoots the arrow at the tank, and there's no explosion, and he goes, "What?" And he goes to do it again, and of course he gets tagged. So it's pretty good. Yeah. And then Scarlet Witch, of course, is going around. Is this the point where she's going around giving everybody the visions?
Yet.
Not yet, right? Okay.
No, this doesn't do anything until Cap catches up with Strucker.
Yeah, no, he gets Strucker. They get the shield down, and then before all the stuff with Witch shows up, you have the first time you see the lullaby, which plays a part in this movie a couple times. The lullaby, I like it. For those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, is because Hulk's been Hulk for a while, and they found a way to turn. I don't know. They found a way to bring Hulk out of where he is, and what they do is Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, will say, "Hey, it's time for a lullaby," and like she'll touch his hand a certain way and calm him down, and then he'll go back to being Bruce Banner. And I love that idea that you have a way now that you can control the Hulk so he can be a force of nature, but you also have control of that force of nature, and you aren't just subject to rage and without any type of control. And it's interesting. Like it's a very cool take, and also really does show how they've been a team for so long.
Yeah, and it's the first hint of Bruce and Natasha's relationship too.
Okay, I need to hear somebody's opinion on that real fast.
It's fine.
Where did it come from?
I knew it. I was watching this movie and I'm like, Bill's not gonna like that.
Oh, where did it come from? Hello, she's being real flirty at the party, which we'll get to. And and even when she's doing the lullaby, she kind of like rubs her finger against his giant green hand. I'm like, hey. I mean, I don't know if that's gonna get him less excited or more excited. I don't think that's gonna work there, Sunshine. You might want to just keep the singing. Yeah, what? Where did that come from?
I just chalked it up to more of they've been a team for a long time, so I guess someone would develop feelings over the course of however long. I don't know. It felt less stupid than Thor and Padme in the first Thor movie.
Nothing's that dumb. Nothing's that stupid. But
that's all I could think of was Padme. I'm like, oh, Bill ain't gonna like this.
No. It just came from nowhere, and it didn't make any sense. Every time it was mentioned, it's always read to me as like, why? I didn't. Again, we got to see these things develop. But that is definitely a check mark against.
Yeah, like it definitely felt like they could have removed all of those scenes with just them two, and it would have been fine. Like it doesn't really add anything to the overall plot other than Hulk leaving at the end of the movie.
It's all foreshadowing to make that a harder moment, just like the Hawkeye thing, where Hawkeye is getting shot and getting beat up and almost dying, and talking about how he's gonna go fix the house later when he gets home, and like all that is just foreshadowing his eventual death. That, spoiler alert, doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah, and we'll get to all that stuff later, especially as this kind of develops and the payoff for both, which the Hulk payoff isn't enough for me to warrant the completely out of nowhere development of this relationship that he doesn't even seem like he wants. Yeah. Like he's extremely reluctant. Like, again, the big theme of this is Hulk, and I will get to it. I'll get there when we get there when it comes to like Hulk and his theme and his arc and all that. So
I guess it really doesn't pay off until Ragnarok, does it?
Not really. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I hadn't really given it much thought.
Yeah, like it's years before questions get answered from this movie and from Dark World.
Yeah.
So how much does Universal still have of Hulk at this point? Have they completely lost everything?
Nope. There's a reason we don't get a Hulk movie. They still own distribution or something right, so Disney will not do anything ever solo Hulk movie.
So I wonder if that's why they just like completely don't mention Betty, if that's still something Universal has their hands on.
Maybe. I don't know the logistics with that, but I do know that the reason we never got a solo movie is because they still own part. They have some co-ownership of it, so they just stay. So they're like, fuck you. We're not going to work with you ever again.
Yeah, that's fine.
I thought Mike, I thought you were gonna say that. Well, Universal still owns his green shorts, his left foot, and like half his hair. So I mean, unless you want to make a movie like that, I don't know what to tell you.
So I do like the way Scarlet Witch first shows up in this movie, like because we were talking about before when they all start going inside to the castle where Strucker is. This is when Witch shows up, or Scarlet Witch, and she starts doing her magic thingy.
Oh
and confusing them all, and they all get their first little visions that we get.
Well, it's just Tony, right?
It's just Tony.
Yeah. Because is this where Cap confronts Strucker and then Witch kind of saves him?
Yes.
Yeah, and then the door all of a sudden like time speeds up, the door closes, and it's like a weird
like a Japanese horror villain where she just backs up and the door closes. Like,
which is great.
Creepy.
Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, out of place too. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of creep factors in this movie.
For those that don't know, her powers aren't really defined in the comics because they don't know what to say with her powers. So it's just kind of like she just has powers, and it's used like there's a comic book where she gets upset and says no more mutants, and all the mutants disappear. Like they don't understand her powers.
So she's kind of like a not comic book Joker, but like a Joker in a deck of cards. Like she can just you throw her in if you need something to happen. Yeah, that moves the story along.
Yeah,
right.
I think like the base of her power is reality warping, and then they just kind of turn that into whatever they need for the plot.
Yeah, they don't really. She's just one of those characters. Like that's why you don't see her in very much stuff of other material. They don't know what to do with her.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, she doesn't play she plays a pretty big role towards the end of this film, obviously. But going forward, it's a very basic her and connection with her brother. It's a brother-sister relationship. Yeah, makes sense. Very basic kind of thing that works to just get them in, get you caring about them a little bit. Not that much, honestly, but a little bit as we kind of move forward with all the bigger stuff. This kind of movie, again, it's a bridge movie. Like, again, this is a big linking movie. It has to do a lot of stuff like the original Avengers. It's got to do a lot of things. We got to set up new characters. We got to introduce new characters. We got to develop the existing characters. We have to like build the team, and we have to make it a standalone film that makes sense on its own. It's got a lot of work to do, and it does most of it pretty well. And as a bridge movie, I think it's actually pretty great. So It's a challenging film to do, which probably why a lot of people didn't like it, including myself when it first came out, is because it is rushed, right? There's a lot of things going on.
There's also
yeah.
3-hour cut of this movie or more, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm sure.
I don't know if it ever came out in the wild, but if I remember correctly, the original runtime before they, cut it up was over 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, you couldn't do that in this era.
I'd watch it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would now on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
we've been conditioned with Infinity War and Endgame at this point.
We're
so 3 hours seems like nothing.
Exactly. Right. That is also some time and place too. In my second viewing of this, is that 5 years ago this was a long ass movie, right? And there's some the middle of this movie is long. Like it's a lot of time spent on the farm. It feels like. And now we're conditioned to 3.5 hour long MCU movies. This is nothing. This is a snack. So, and it's pretty well paced for what it is. But just to get back to the outline, so she I guess she saves. She doesn't save Strucker, does she? I forget.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind
of. She keeps Cap from hitting him, and then she leaves, and then he hits him anyway.
Yeah.
Strucker's like, you got to be faster than that. And he just kicks up the shield and tosses it at him.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And the visions of Tony, that Tony vision of the space monsters from the first Adventures and the space slugs. I wasn't going to say it again. I say stupid things once. I try to at least.
And then we bring it up again because
that's fine. You can say space slugs. I don't mind.
You're on the wrong show if you don't like running jokes.
This is true. I know. I don't know why I'm trying to avoid this either. Just embrace it. So the space slugs is really very cool. He sees all of his compatriots battered and bloodied, and it's very interesting how he reacts, especially to Cap, because he, of course, is the one that he has the least in common with as far as his ideology goes. And have him really kind of be very teary about this, and I don't know if that's just a byproduct of the mind thing or anything else, but to have him see this and be affected by it is very cool, very grim. Kind of grim vision. And as a viewer, you don't know, is this a vision of the future? Like, is this what we're going to see at some point in the future? And
also for like what he's seen in that vision, besides all the Avengers being killed, is he sees the portal to Earth, and it's the Thanos attacking is what is a vision too.
Yeah,
right.
See more of the Chitauri coming in.
Yep.
Fuck the Chitauri.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
I just don't like them. I mean, there's so many great monster races and things in the MCU, and they went with the Chitauri.
Yeah, well, like we discussed in Avengers, like they didn't have access to most of them.
It still bugs me.
It's a powerful scene though. Like,
yeah,
what Cap's last line to him as he dies is, "Why didn't you do more?" And that basically sets off the plot for the rest of the movie. Is Tony trying to do more to prevent anything like this from happening,
or prevent the need for the Avengers to actually exist?
Right. Yeah. We mentioned running jokes, and I have to bring this up. How did the space slug get here from New York? Like, how did no one notice them transporting this giant-ass thing?
Here's my opinion. Hydra was S.H.I.E.L.D., so S.H.I.E.L.D. would have came in and just took... That's how I buy it. I mean, that's
they broke it up. They broke it up into pieces, and they, brought it over the course of years, and they reassembled it like a dinosaur. Of course, looked like a dinosaur. It was framed like it, hanging from the ceiling.
I just figured the space slug was panhandling to get money to travel.
You just wanted to make that dumb joke.
I took some cues from Bruce Banner in Guatemala, wherever he was. Yeah.
It's a fair question though, because that's a long way. That's like across the ocean.
It is across the ocean. Yeah, that's a very good question. And just movie had to do movie, so I guess
I did want to make that joke though.
No, that's good.
That doesn't bother me. I was able to buy this one a lot better than the other thing that I make fun of every movie.
So does Scarlet Witch end up with Loki's scepter? Is that?
No, Iron Man takes the scepter and they take it back.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You have the small moment where they're in the Quinjet and then they go to Avengers Tower that you see in the first movie where it was Tony's tower.
We get our title.
We get the title card.
Yeah, we get it early.
Yeah. After this, Tony snaps out of the vision and boom, title card.
Which I like it that we get it early in this movie because it fits the movie too in a way. Because I mean, yes, you know who these characters are, but still, it's kind of weird when you get your title card at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of set it up the same way as Avengers, where we get the basis for the rest of the plot, and then the title card, and then the movie officially kicks off.
And it's when they get to the tower, and they're all getting out of the Quinjet, and you have Maria Hill, or Robin Sparkle shows up, and if I remember correctly, because Helen Cho is the Asian scientist that's in this that saves Hawkeye, because we've got to save Hawkeye from his first partial death in this movie, which again is foreshadowing that they can make flesh. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, the only reason why Helen Cho is in this movie and they have all the stuff that involves Korea at one point is because they were trying to appeal to China to get money.
Interesting. This is the first time we've seen Cho, right?
Yes. She hasn't been in any other movie since either.
Oh, yeah.
Her nephew or son is Amadeus Cho, who is a Hulk in the comics at one point.
Yeah.
What the Awesome Hulk is what they call him.
Cool. Okay.
I don't know if that's where they were headed or what they were doing, but yeah, that's what is a reference to at least.
This is also sorry, just one quick thing. This is also the scene where we have our obligatory sponsored by Beats moment when
the diegetic opera music.
Yeah, when Banner's listening to his opera music to chill out, and of course it lingers for about 5 seconds on that Beats logo. I'm like,
there's
really?
Also a
Gillette
shaving cream at one point in this movie too.
Is there? Oh, I didn't catch that.
It's only for a second, but I bought enough Gillette and looked at enough Gillette. I'm like, that's Gillette. I'm like, you asshole. It's like, yeah, you can. It's 100%.
I haven't shaved in 6 years, so I wouldn't know.
That's too.
Cool. Okay.
Did you guys notice the Jarvis is my co-pilot bumper sticker in the Quinjet?
Yes, very funny. And I saw in your notes, Mike, that there was the Quinjet. That's what that is, huh? That's
yes. This is the first time you see a Quinjet, I think.
Okay.
Is that what they're in when Thor takes Loki out in Avengers?
Oh, God. The Quinjets are owned by Tony. I feel like that was a SHIELD ship. Maybe it was a Quinjet, but this is definitely a Quinjet.
Yeah, because SHIELD still would have been a thing then.
Yeah, so I think this is the first time we see a Quinjet, because when I'm looking at it right now, it's a little different than what they might have had then.
Gotcha.
I can't remember. It's been, a while. And then you have the, most important scene, them healing Hawkeye. And and this is when you also get the first scene where they start dissecting the staff, because they only have a couple of days before Thor is going to take the staff to Asgard. So they start analyzing it and trying to figure out, and then they find this computer, not AI, but they find something inside the Mind Stone, which ends up becoming Ultron, and they're like, we should call it this, and we should do this, and what do you guys think about that part?
It's
okay. That's a good opinion. I don't need to say any more.
Yeah, like they definitely touched that Ultron has been an idea that Tony and Bruce have been bouncing around a while, and this just seems like a convenient plot point to make it happen, I guess.
Yeah, it just seems very almost mad science-y, which actually Tony refers to. He's kind of like, we're all mad scientists. Like, we're nuts. This is what we do. Like, stop trying to be this good guy all the time. I'm not sure if that's in this moment or later on, but the idea see, I actually like the idea of an Infinity Stone just being this magic force that we don't quite understand. Having it like turned into it's a computer program that we could just ingest into things seems convenient, like you said, for this movie. But again, I think this movie is more about themes and moving things along, and again, creating this bridge for the rest of the MCU and for Phase 3. So, it's fine. I just don't. I definitely, like I said, enjoyed the idea of Infinity Stone being this magical, mystical thing that nobody gets, but we know what it does.
Yeah, I mean, being the Mind Stone, it kind of makes sense. It would have a mind of its own somewhere in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. This is not a bad thing, but having it be something that you can just plug into your desktop with a USB is kind of like. I know that's not what the point is. I'm being reductive, but
it's okay. That's what we do here.
Yeah, reduce everything to nonsense. Yes.
The
idea of a true AI, and it's clear that he's had this idea of an Ultron, like baking in the back of his brain, which I can see. As a genius, I'm sure he always has ideas, and I think he, in his heart, likes the idea of not doing this anymore. Like the best way to defend against the evils of the world and evils of the universe now, as he puts it later on when we talk to Cap, is we got to build something we got to build the net of protection. We can't be the reactive protection. We can't be reactive anymore. We need to be proactive. And kind of like what Loki says, in the beginning of Thor, saying we got to create something that's going to defend us. That's not us, because we can't keep doing this. We can't keep fighting these escalating things, right? We're fighting dudes with laser beams. That's no big deal. That's just chaff. But if space slugs come back, we almost lost. We almost lost to space slugs. And I saw what was out there, and none of you else you did except Thor. This ain't gonna cut it. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting, again, battle of ideologies that we're gonna see very soon. And of course, he convinces Banner because Banner is Banner. He's still kind of this meek guy who's just gonna roll with. He's intelligent, but he's gonna roll with science most of the time.
He's also kind of submissive in a way to Tony at first.
Very
kind of like, is that the right word?
Yeah. Well, Tony's a dominant figure, right? And Tony is a dominant, charismatic character. Banner isn't. He's just a genius who knows stuff. So I could definitely see Banner just kind of bending to Tony's will just based on Tony's force of personality and how he can just not manipulate. I don't see it as manipulation. Just convince. Like, this is what we got to do. Come along or not. And of course, and also he appeals to Banner's intelligence by saying, you're the only person who knows neural something science word. I need you to do this. And again, appealing to his intelligence and to the thing he holds on to.
It was smart people doing smart stuff. It felt like, though, in a sense, when they're putting together the plan.
Yeah, it was. It's they're in the laboratory making things happen. And again, not quite. Again, we don't have time in this movie to really have the fun montage of building things. We don't have time for that.
And to answer my earlier comment, the original cut was 3.5 hours long, and this movie is 1 minute shorter than Avengers.
Yeah, there's no way. And okay, I retract my statement if I want to see a 3.5 hour movie of this. Yeah, I never advocate for movies to be longer. I'd like to see more of this. Maybe take that extra movie and make like a smaller, like, mini series out of it or something. I don't know.
It is interesting.
3.5 hours is long. Oh boy.
When Ultron starts to like take consciousness after you have Ultron and Jarvis, and this is also when you have Ultron being like, well, and he starts going through video footage, which it is kind of cool, where he's looking at this, and he's looking at that, and he's seeing what humans do, and he's like, hey, I'm supposed to be a peacekeeper. I'm supposed to save the race and save this. Well, these people are crazy. We should kill them and start over. Yeah. Like it's I like how he gets that idea from here. In the comics, Ultron is a product of Hank Pym's mind, and Hank Pym is a abusive asshole and crazy, so it plays a part where Ultron comes from in the comics. And here is just he sees what the human race has become, and he doesn't like it, and he sees what the Avengers have become, and he's looking at, well, since the Avengers are here, these things are going to happen, so it's the Avengers' fault that this happened.
Yeah,
in a way.
It's like the only way to create peace is to prevent war. The only way to do that is to eliminate the problem.
Yeah, which you quickly sees based on the footage he's looking at. And I love this, because the idea of an AI being smart enough to realize that we're really the problem, because we are, as a human race, we are the problem. Like, we're not the best solution for all this. And realizing it within 5 seconds is very scary, and I think is very real, kind of a threat, as we get closer to that kind of sentience. And it's a very science fiction-y idea, which again, I really dig. I like this quite a bit. I like this a lot. I like that I did Jarvis going, hey, you might want to slow down a bit. And so Ultron realizing, here's my mission, keep peace. Wow, look at all these pictures of human beings destroy themselves. That's the problem. Let's get rid of them. And from a very programmatic way, saying, okay, this is my mission, and not being emotionally attached to it really until kind of the end, which doesn't really make sense actually, given what Ultron is. But right here at this moment, like, you made me to fix the problem. You're the problem, so yeah. I'm gonna fix the problem, and that's what you designed me to do, and have complete agency over that. Because again, that's what Tony Stark is saying. He wants to build something that senses the problem. Oh, space slugs are coming out of the sky. Let me just take care of that for you. Let me just take care of that, along with my drones. And the Avengers can sit and hang out and not do this anymore, even though Tony forgets the fact that that's what the Avengers, who they are. Like, you can't tell Captain America to sit around and play with his baseball cards. Like, you can't do that. It's not going to happen.
Which Ultron throws in his face later on.
Yeah, exactly. But this opening moment is very scary. The idea of this AI being in the internet, being everywhere, attacking everything, finding everything, learning constantly. Oh boy, this is a worthy adversary who has a single-minded mission. It's obviously not as good as this, but it kind of sort of reminds me of No Country for Old Men, which I think is a top 50 movie ever made. And the Anton character, the villain, has a single-minded morality, which if you've ever read any of the source material, the name is escaping me. If you ever read any of the source material, like Blood Meridian of that that writer, it's all about morality, right? He has this base morality. This is what his mission is, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you are. If you're in the way, you're going down, and that's his single-minded morality. And that's what I like about Ultron. It's a mechanical computer. This is my mission. How do I accomplish this mission? What's the most efficient way to do it? I'm not going to save you, terrible people. And if you notice, when he's going through the images of destruction and death and pain, the last one he sees is Tony Stark launching Patriot missiles or whatever his missiles were called at the very beginning of Iron Man. Jericho missiles. Thank you. At the very beginning of Iron Man, him launching Jericho missiles like a pompous idiot. And it is great. And he goes, "Yeah, you made me to destroy you. Okay." And may I say, James Spader is fantastic in this. I love Ultron as a villain, to be perfectly honest. And I remember first time around too, really liking him, thinking he was the best part. James Spader is great. He's excellent and a very different type of villain than we've seen so far in the MCU.
I think that's another problem people had with this movie is Ultron in the comics is very mechanical and methodical. He doesn't have this kind of personality that they've given him. He doesn't have a Joss Whedon personality that they gave him in the movie. So I think people felt like he kind of tarnished the name of Ultron from the comics.
That is a quick question, because like, where did that personality come from? But then again, you could see him being built by a Tony Stark. So you could see some of that, like that kind of cocksure, devil may care, and almost jokey. And again, I could see where people would say, well, where'd that come from? Yeah. But it was so refreshing to see a villain not enjoy his work, but accept his work, right? Yeah. Almost in the way that what's going on? Where's my brain today? Almost kind of like Thanos, where Thanos doesn't want to do what he's doing, but he knows he has to because this is what he thinks. That's his morality. It's a single-minded. If we get rid of half the people, we can feed everybody else. Everybody else will die. You know, everybody else will live a better life if we can randomly destroy half of the people in the world. And randomly, no, let's leave it up to luck, right? To create a better world for everybody. And I really don't want to do this, but this is my mission and I'm going to do it. And the author of No Country for Old Men and Blood Meridian, Cormac McCarthy. I can't believe I forgot that. He's my favorite authors. It's all about morality, and it's very, very interesting and good. And he's actually kind of fun. He's a fun villain because, he goes, oh, God, you're going to get in my way again. Fine. Why don't you just let me do what I got to do? I'm going to do it, so just let me do it.
He's definitely he's got shades of Tony in there, which we even see in a later scene when he recites one of Tony's apparently popular quotes to Claw. I
like that one.
Right.
I don't remember the quote, but I like what happens.
Yeah. He says, give your friends money and your enemies money and wait around to see which one's which. Something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, is that his name? Claw, the Australian dude?
Yeah, Ulysses
Claw.
See,
I didn't. Because that's right. He did have a Final Fantasy VI kind of claw thing going on. Yeah, Sabin Claw. Okay. I just didn't catch that.
We'll get that. Yeah. He's another villain from the comics.
Okay, I didn't even know. I just thought he was a dude.
By the way.
Yeah, first and only.
No, he's a lot. I have his first appearance in the comic book. Okay, a couple quick things to mention. Like, we kind of, like, you have Ultron, he goes over his plan. You have Ultron waking up, which I like all that, where he starts to get consciousness before, everything starts really getting into play and the character really does grow. I mean, and you are right. Like, James Spader's voice is good. Like, he does a good job, and they did a good job of, it feels very robotic, too, at times. I know part of that must be synthesizing or something, where they just change it a little bit. But it's good. And then you have the party scene. And I don't know how to feel about this part. Like, it's kind of like that calm before the storm moment, before shit hits the fan and this movie really gets going. And there was a part that I didn't catch this on the previous watch through, but since we're watching everything one after another. When Falcon first shows up, and it's one of his only 2 appearances in this movie, he goes over to Captain. He's like, "Hey," and he mentions, "Hey, I've been looking for that missing person. It's kind of gone cold at the moment." And I did not catch that last time. I mean, that line means nothing in this movie. Is not brought up again. I mean, again, it's a reference to Winter Soldier, but it's just this one little line, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a Lego piece. It's just connecting. Yeah, it's just kind of connecting.
It was cool to me. Like, now that you know what it is, it really hit me. And I do want to know, what did you guys think of, like, the whole party where you see them, just kind of, like, being friendly with each other and having random guests. I don't know where the hell these guests came from, but random guests at the tower. And I know Bill must have been real excited when they started talking about Jane Foster in this movie, and why she's not here.
That's fine. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind. I can see her being a topic of conversation. I love this. I think it's great. Like you said, it's a calm before the storm, and it's also showing where they are, which are they're friends. They're the friends. They're a team. They're together. This is kind of showing where they are as a foreshadowing kind of where they become, which is completely shattered, broken again.
Not that long away either.
Not that long away, and it's again that kind of it's where they are, which is a good place. They're all kind of lounging. What does he call it? A revel. Thor's like, I think we need a revel. And Tony's like, I can do a revel. And this is the revel, right? This is the celebration, right? We got the scepter. We can actually all kind of relax now. We are done. We're gonna get rid of this dumb thing and put it in the giant box. We're gonna study it, but we're kind of done. We're for now. This is a little break we're taking, and it's nice to see them take that break and just kind of take the capes off and just relax and enjoy themselves as friends in this fun environment. I enjoyed it quite a bit, except of course. Go ahead.
The Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, it's fine. Point. He gets hammered from Thor's drink of Asgard, some sort of disgraceful liquor. I'm sure that he pulled out of nowhere.
Age for 1,000 years of some sort.
Age for 1,000 years in the barrels of something or something. It's like, okay, I'm down with the age of the barrel things. I'm not drinking anymore, but shoot, I'd try it. Why not?
I like Rhodey's tank story.
I love that.
It's funny.
It's great.
And they just don't care. They're just like, okay. Boom! Yeah. And I just put it there, like, yeah.
Is that the whole story? Yeah. Oh, then it was great. Yeah. Okay.
Really? That got nothing.
I don't know I talk to you guys anymore.
At least they reference them. Like in the first Avengers movie, there is no War Machine. He never shows up at all. So it was kind of cool that they found a way to at least fit him in a couple parts of this movie. Because, once you introduce that character into this world, he should be around when there's a global event like this. Same with Avengers 1. He should have been there.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's cool to see Rhodey and Falcon, even though they don't have real big parts in this movie. But like you said, they'd still be around.
Yeah,
especially
Falcon
at a big party like this.
Looking for Barnes, I guess, the whole time. But
Right.
Well, you can take a break from that and just have a cocktail with some pals, and again resetting up, reintroducing some of the characters that we're going to see for 2 seconds at the end of the movie, and then they have a celebratory like movie shot, and you're like, oh, anyway, we'll get to that last scene momentarily.
And this is also like we had, I know Bill's favorite part where you have Nat and Bruce start dating, flirting at the bar.
Yeah, again, this is not set up. This is not earned. It's just, and she's being super flirty. She's like, yeah, I have this mystery guy. And Bruce, shades of Edward Norton, let's be honest. Well, hey, what are you talking about? Who is this guy? Where is he? He's talking about you, dummy.
Have I met him?
Wake up already.
What's his name?
You're a genius. Come on, put 2 and 2 together. And again, I can see him not understanding social cues. Like, that makes sense. As a genius, you have a lot of one thing and very little of another. I get it.
I would know.
Yeah, the balancing plate. But yeah, well, I mean, we all recognize your genius, Mike. We don't. No one doubts that. But it's like, yes, it just again doesn't make sense. Why is she behind a bar serving drinks in her 1950s Marilyn Monroe outfit? Like, I don't know.
Because from the 1950s, all of a sudden.
I guess I don't know.
I agree with you. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it was just weird. And Cap is like, "Hey, hello, McFly. She's into Could you please just say hi?" Again, casual, fun, affable. Bruce is going through some stuff, so I can't kill him for this, for being kind of a dunce about it. He's trying to figure out whether or not he should live in a hole and never come out because he is a dangerous person. That's kind of how, unfortunately, rage works. I can identify with it a bit. Is that you're just unsure of yourself? Like, when am I going to go off again? Like, it's a scary thing to live with, especially him. He can murder people and not care, right? His emotions are gone, and him wrestling with it. But still doesn't. I would like them again to be more of just a team. Like, she's like, I'm going to help you. I'm your best friend. I get what you're going through. Let's figure this out.
It
instead
does
of
feel
weird romantic thing, which is just odd.
It's only there for the one purpose of making it more more like sad when he does leave, that she's like, I'll go with you. Like, throughout this movie, you keep seeing that, and it really does feel like it just. I mean, I liked it, but it did feel a little unnecessary.
It's just weird. Again, it's continuing the arc that they started in the ship, or started in the ship and on the battlefield when she's caressing his hand. It's like, where did this come from? I don't understand it.
Yeah, and then you also have the hammer joke right after this, which again is foreshadowing for a moment that comes later in the movie, which I did laugh still. And I will say when Ultron first shows up and you have that scene where he just walks in there in the broken robot that he's putting together, and he's just like and he starts talking about. I think he's talking about strings, or he's just like you made me to keep peace. You think, and it is creepy as hell still.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I want to get I do want to get Michael's take on the whole party in general.
We're just gonna gloss over the Mjolnir scene. It's like the best scene in the movie.
The which scene?
Where everyone's taking turns trying to pick up Mjolnir.
Oh yeah, Mike kind of breezed over it. You're right. I think it's so great. I think it's so funny. It's so good. Very clever.
I'm trying to move us along.
Yeah. Mike's got a place to be later, but.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't. It's okay. I don't need to see this.
But anyway, yeah, I know that's a great moment.
I saw her first wedding. I don't need to see the second one. I'll see the third.
Wow. Okay.
I'll talk about that later.
But anyway,
yeah, like it sets up that no one can lift it except for Cap. Kind of nudges it a little bit, which that doesn't pay off for a long time. But man, does it pay off!
So great, and I love that. And I just this time, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I will get to it. Never mind. Move on, Mike.
That's what I was saying. When Ultron comes in, it is such a good scene.
Wonderful.
Like it really, like, especially watching it again, like it hit me. Like you can feel the tension in the room when they see him and he's talking all weird like, and it's very robotic, and they're like, what the fuck? And when all the robots rush in, and they're unprepared. They're not really. I mean, Iron Man Tony doesn't even have his suit. Like, he jumps on a robot and shoves a shiv into his neck. Like, it is a cool moment to see them completely unprepared for what's happening. Cap doesn't have his shield right away. Hawkeye just got to go hide under a bench something. Yeah, he can't do anything because he's useless. Like, I can't remember what he does in this part. I'm sure he does something, but it was really good. Like, it definitely. I went into this movie not expecting to like it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm getting into this more." And I thought, like, I was tired. I was really like, it's some very good stuff. Even this part was very entertaining to watch.
Like, all the action in this movie is super solid. Like the choreography is great. Everything looks so cool. Like, and I know I keep saying that, but like it really does.
And I do like how you have the whole point of what he's doing essentially is kind of distracting them, because as Ultron is building, because while they were talking, having the party, Ultron was building more little Ultrons, or some version of him that he was putting inside the Legionnaire to use to distract them, to get the scepter and get the hell out of there and just run away to the Ultron factory. Because I think at the same time, you also see a scene where in the factory that they can't figure out where the hell he's at in Sokovia, where he's building more Ultron bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's at the very end of this scene when he's singing the Pinocchio.
Oh, is that what that's from? The string now, the string now free.
Yeah, yes. I want you to know that this is Disney's The Avengers now, not just Marvel's.
Has Disney already owned this already?
Yeah.
Disney already bought this at this point? Oh, wow.
They bought it after Iron Man.
Oh, wow. Okay. That time. Gotcha. Yeah, no, this is interesting. It's such a wonderful. He's creepy and all disjointed and gangly, like a teenager almost, like all elbows and knees and just gangly and awkward, like figuring out how to walk.
Leaking fluids everywhere.
What's that?
He's leaking fluid everywhere.
Yeah, right. He's leaking. Exactly. Very creepy, very weird, kind of gross. And again, like you said, I really enjoy the team fighting without their stuff. This shows another side. Now because we saw them just destroying and laying waste to Hydra like they're nothing, just like they're nothing. And now it kind of shows them who they really are without all their stuff and without their really being reduced to just defending themselves against an enemy as opposed to attacking an enemy in a defensive posture, which I think was very cool and very interesting. And again, he says that humanity needs to evolve, and Ultron is basically saying what Tony kind of wants, which is the Avengers extinction. You guys can't be here. Like, that's the betterment for the world. You guys have caused so many problems. Y'all gotta go. And Tony doesn't think they've caused problems, but Tony thinks they have to go. He's saying the same thing. We need to retire because we're never going to be able to handle the threats that are coming. Because those threats, and Thor, these threats out there are beyond our capacity. And so it's very interesting. Again, interesting villain. Thor just smashes him like fuck this, bam. But you know he's not gone. Obviously, he's in the net. He's now in the networks. He's just like you said. His villains have the scepter, and now they're gonna go and do their thing.
And this is also when you have the beginning of them starting to break apart too more, where they start arguing, and you find out that Tony made the decision to make Ultron, to do the stuff with Ultron, and leading to all this problem with Bruce Banner. Didn't bother to tell the team, didn't bother to communicate, just did his own thing, made his own decisions, and didn't act as a team. And they get, and you, I do like when you start to see him really, like, they get pissed at him too. I think this is when you have the chokehold from Thor where he grabs him.
Yeah,
like it's good. I don't like seeing Avengers fight each other. We'll talk about in a couple movies.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know
it happens a lot though. Like, I have that in my notes. Is Avengers infighting again because it happened in a lot normal. In Avengers. Happens now. It happens in Civil War.
And I know, Mike, you don't like that, and I thought of that. No. I was like, oh, Mike's not. That's why I'm like, Mike doesn't like War. This. Yeah. Oh, I know. That's all it is. But
Civil War's a great movie, but I do not like part from what I remember. But we'll see. It's been a while, so we'll see.
If it's a reason, I like it. Yeah. Oh, so go ahead, Michael.
A lot of this feels like it's setting up for Civil War too, of clashing ideals and whatnot.
Yeah. Again, as Bill said before, it's a bridge movie. There are so many things in this movie that are just setting up future movies.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot of set up Civil War in this movie.
Again, it reestablishes Captain America's and Captain's and Tony's just totally different thought process. He says to Tony, "We're not S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, that's some S.H.I.E.L.D. ass shit that you just did, like hiding stuff and making things without us knowledge. We're a team. We need to all be on the same page and work together. And you just went and did this rogue thing and created this rogue monster that destroyed Jarvis, which is super sad." And I'm really glad that he showed Jarvis like his neural net in the beginning and then shows what the Mind Stone can do. Because now when you see that stone, see Jarvis in tatters, in virtual tatters, whew, that was hard. I was like, oh my gosh, that's really, whew, that sucks.
It's cool though. Like, it is very cool.
Jarvis is super, yeah, go ahead.
The audience has definitely built affection towards Jarvis at this point through 5 movies now.
Yeah. Jarvis is like his right-hand man. He's the guy that kind of runs things. Even Tony even says, other than Pepper, Jarvis runs the show. And I loved when Ultron first starts approaching them at the party. He pulls out his Jarvis communicator. Jarvis, do a thing, and no one responds. And he's like, "Wait, what? What?" Yeah, really good stuff. And yeah, this is another just clash of ideologies. People picking sides. Right now, everybody's against Tony. And I think even Tony at this point starts giving his speech about, you do realize we need this, right? Like, we can't keep doing this. And I keep saying the same thing over again, so I apologize if I'm doing that. But that's what Tony's saying here. We should be retiring because we should all be realizing that this is the universe is bigger than us. We can't take on the universe with our iron suits and our hammers and our bow and arrows. Like, that's not going to do it.
Yeah,
and that's
he even
says
it.
Very good point. But
he says that up there, that's the end game.
Yeah, he does say that's the end game. You're right. He does say that. And Cap has a great line, and I think it's here, but it might be later.
Yeah,
he says anybody who's ever tried to fight a war before it starts, innocent people get killed. Whew, yeah. He's got a point. Cap always has the right point because Cap is working from a very pure place, a pure morality, where Tony, he just really wants to just be a playboy again. He just wants to not do this anymore as much as he feels like he has to. Very interesting. Very good.
And it's right after this when the twins first meet Ultron. Like, I like that where they go inside this church, which is in the center of the city, so-called, whatever the fuck it's called. And he's like, oh, the church is in the center. And for those that don't know, that red cloak that is on Ultron when you first see him is a reference to the comics too, where the first time you see him, he's a cloak over his body for some reason.
Yeah, that didn't make sense. It's like, what, your shoulders are chilly?
It's from a comic. It's directly from the comic, and they just like, oh, let's throw again. He was a fan. Joss Whedon was a fan of these Avenger comics, so that I think is why he did it, because he just like, oh, it's in the comic book, let's throw it in the movie. But you're right, it doesn't make. But that's why it's there.
Yeah, they seem shoehorned in, and yeah, they always feel a little shoehorned in. It's as good of a job as you can expect to introduce 2 brand new characters to a movie that's already kind of stuffed with characters, and like I said, has a lot to do. It might have been a little better if you didn't have that and just kind of streamlined it, but then again, you wouldn't get to New Avengers, which is what we're going to have later on. So which is the whole thing again, bridging the movie to set everything up for Phase 3. Aside from the little snack, the delicious snack that is Ant-Man, because I do really like that film.
Also, Ant-Man was a movie that was supposed to be way, way before what we got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned that, which makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. This is, yeah.
That has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, so, this is same scene where we get the backstory of the twins and why they hate Stark, because the bombshells going off in the apartment building kill their parents.
I don't like I understand that sucks, it's terrible, but the whole we hate them because something that happened. He made weapons. It's just. I mean, I understand it, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of stupid in my opinion.
I mean, the MCU loves to make villains out of things Tony Stark has done, which we'll see in both of the Spider-Man movies later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I remember
I know you're not wrong. I'm just.
Well, no, and it's interesting, and it's an interesting point because it is kind of it's Joss Whedon trying to say, please care about these people, care about them. I like them. Now it makes a lot of sense that you mentioned he loves these characters.
Yeah,
he's trying to tell us to do that. Please, no, guys, you gotta like these characters. So Tony Stark, sure, he makes weapons. Their parents are destroyed. The shell doesn't go off. His name is on it. They're there for 2 days. He's really in this monologue trying to really cement. You should like these people because here's the reason why these villains exist and they don't like Tony Stark. They can't just be paper cut characters I like from the comics, so I want them in this movie. And again, I'm sure his rationale was more pure than that, but it was just a very quick we need to just here's the backstory. Cool. Do you guys get it? Everyone get it? Nothing's happening. It's just a blank scene in a church with him explaining, and he's just telling the audience what we need to know to get it and move on. It's a device.
Convincing them to his side too by telling him that we're gonna stop Tony, we're gonna do this. He's leaving out the part I'm gonna kill every human on this planet. Well, which I like it because she can read mind, but she can't read his mind because he's a robot at this point. And again, one thing that bothered me a lot though, because it doesn't happen, they get rid of after this movie. Their accents, I mentioned I think earlier, but their accents are just so annoying especially for Scarlet Witch. It bugs the hell out of me.
It comes and goes.
That's the other problem with it.
I think in Civil War she doesn't have any kind of accent.
No, it's gone. They scrapped that idea. Again, it was probably Joss Whedon to be like, have an Eastern European accent. Let's put it in there.
I mean, I don't know what preparation she made for it. I'm sure she did vocal coaches and all that. It's not consistent. It didn't annoy me too much though. It was just, but it was very in your face. It was very apparent, and not because Brie doesn't have, or not Brie Olsen. What's her name? Elizabeth Olsen. Thank you. Well, at least it was an Olsen. I got one of them right. My
favorite of the three.
Okay. She's actually very good in the limited stuff she has to do. She does a lot of cowering and then a lot of mind bending, and then she screams once. That's kind of what she does. But again, hammered into a movie that has a lot of things to do, so it was fine. The backstory. I get it now. Now I know your motivation. It's revenge. Move on. Fine. Let's just get to getting.
And this is also when you have the first scene. Well, after you see the little, you have the first scene where they find out Strucker is dead, and that was kind of weird. Where they had we put this character in, we got to get rid of him. We don't got time for him. We got too much stuff happening in this movie. So you have a little scene where they just see him in a jail cell, dead, with the words "peace" written on the side of it.
Well, they also say that
there's a robot in the picture too.
Was there?
Yeah, I'm looking at the screenshot right now because I found one. And there literally has a robot arm in the corner of the screen. I'm going to actually share it to you guys right now, as you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but other people can. Yeah, you literally can see it. It is weird that I have never noticed that. I didn't notice it in the Watcher because it's immediately happens. But yeah, there's a little scene where he's just looking. I can't make it work, but where he's just looking, and you see a robot, and they're like, "Oh, Ultron did it." I thought, "Oh, they knew it was Ultron because peace is written on the wall." No, because literally there's a robot in the picture.
Oh, is there? That's so interesting. It'd be funny if he had was taking a selfie or something, just like, "Hey, look what I just did." No, that wouldn't
something like that. I couldn't get it to work, but
no, it's fine. Hey, get disposable character.
And shouldn't have been, but yes, he is in this movie. And that bugs me because he's a great character that should have been more, and they did do anything with him. But this is also how all the internet's been, they have no access because all their files have been deleted from the internet. So they have to do the old fashioned way. They're just opening up banker boxes of files. And this is when they get tuned into Ulysses' claw, and they're like, oh, this guy has this tattoo, and he mispronounces Wakanda because he thinks he's Mike Albertin from Games My Mom Found, so he can't say the word. And
I like that. It's like, even as smart as Bruce is, like, he's never heard of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool.
It's a very hidden country, though. Like, if we find out, and it's considered a very poor country, if we find out is a lie. But that's what they have going for them at this time, and I like it they introduced Claw, because if you're going to have vibranium, you're going to have someone who smuggled out vibranium, you have to have Claw, because that's his whole purpose. Like, that's the whole thing about this character. He's one of those few people who knew about vibranium, who knew about Wakanda, who gotten it and got out of it. I like that. And for those that don't know, the actor that plays Claw for 2 movies in the series is the same guy that played Smeagol or Golem in Lord of the Rings.
Andy Serkis.
Really? Wow. Okay. I never even would have thought to catch that. This is cool. The 2 things about this that I was charmed. This was so charming to see them going through boxes of files, because again, it's so low tech. My wife and I, this may be cheesy, but we're big fans of anything. My wife's a big fan of anything Sherlock Holmes, and we love the show Elementary. It's no longer on. But there's so many scenes of them like digging through boxes of files in the New York City Police Department, just like picking through files. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, they're doing an elementary thing. That's cool. And secondly, I do have a lot of heart right now for old stuff. I watch a lot of like LGR Tech Tales, which is
nice.
He builds like old computers and such. And just yesterday, before I watched the movie, actually, I was dorking around on DOSBox trying to get old DVDs from my 1996 Packard Bell to work, and just diving into that nostalgia. So to see that was, again, I was just time and place, very charming and good. It's clever. Again, he's trying to show the Avengers doing stuff that doesn't require, Jarvis, bots, and reducing them to basics, like just basic problem solving. It was good.
Even the whole thing with the salvage yard ship, where you find out that's where Usually Claw has his bases on some random ship in a desert.
Right.
I mean, I thought all very cool. Like I enjoyed like when they first meet him, when the twins come, they try to intimidate him. Like, you never intimidated anyone before, have you? And he's sitting there like, I got candy. I mean, pretty much just saying, you're a bunch of kids, you idiot. Like, I'm not. Right. I like how Quicksilver runs over, takes a piece of candy, just eats it. Like, oh, hey, I'll have candy. I'll have a piece of candy.
That was
even
cool.
Before that is when Claw hears disturbance, and he pulls out his gun, and then all of a sudden it's on the counter with all the bullets lined up. Or Quicksilver just dismantled the whole thing in like a second.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I was wondering why all the bullets were just lined up and one was like teetering, but now, thank you. You explained something new to me.
It's a very
cool, the Claw doesn't say, "Don't disturb us."
And I like the Claws. I like his...
That's where you like.
It's a reference from the Captain America and the Avengers game that I love. That's why I just started cackling like an idiot.
No, that's fine. Sorry if I stepped on that too. I didn't catch it.
You did the right thing. I did the wrong thing.
I like that too, because, and I also like how Claws nothing phases him. He's like, okay, cool trick. Like, even at that point, if I remember correctly, he's kind of sitting there, like you said, taking, just in order to be intimidating, you got to like have a fear of something. And I'm not concerned about you guys. And of course, Ultron comes and gives him something to fear.
Well, Ultron kind of gets the fear right away, and it's like he's like, I want to buy stuff. So yeah, he's like, I don't care if you're a giant robot. Sure, you got money. He's already ready to start showing him whatever. And I like how he's like, well, he mentions also he mentions the vibranium, and all of a sudden he transfers all the money into his account like automatically, because again, he can just hack other people's accounts, so it doesn't matter.
It's like, that's worth billions, and Ultron's like, oh well, now so are you.
I like that.
Good line, excellent line, and he fits this Ultron character, even though he's this robot. Again, just getting the job done.
And he's like, here you go. Have everything he just sells them. I like how he just starts selling them everything. And then that's when, as we were talking a little bit ago, where Ultron makes the comment about your friends and your enemies giving the money, see who's who. And he's like, wait a second, Tony even said that to me. Yeah, and when he starts,
you're one of his.
Yes, and when he starts comparing him to Tony, he gets upset, and you have the Empire Strikes Back moment. He cuts off his arm.
Yep. Thought about that, which is good. Kind of shows a little bit of emotion, which again you wouldn't expect from an AI robot. But
it's cool though. It is
cool
because again, it does fit Ultron in the comics too, where Ultron has Hank Pym's personality. He has somewhat of something. He's not just a mindless robot. He's that's why he's a failed robot too, because he has emotion.
Fits it very well. Shows. I think it's the first time he really gets angry. Like, this is the first time he gets angry, where he's just like you said, don't compare me to him.
It's great. I love how he chops off his arm too.
Yeah, I mean that one's for the fans too, because Claw needs his claw, which we won't see until Black Panther. But
Barely get it too, I think.
yeah, it's pretty short lived.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Black Panther. So
Oh yeah,
You're in
That's
for
right.
a really good movie when we get there.
yeah, I hear I'm in for a treat.
Some are not, but that one is a treat.
yeah,
But we'll get there. And this is also when you have the Avengers show up on the ship, finally.
yeah.
And this is an interesting part because you have them confront Ultron for the first time, where Ultron's in his new body that he has for a while in this movie before he
Yeah.
destroys it. And it's really just them versus the twins. Like, it's Ultron and the twins, and they just show up: Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Iron Man takes Ultron, the Captain, and Thor trying to kind of fight the twins, sort of. And you have henchmen shooting at people for no reason, just to have something happening, I guess.
Yeah, we get some good dialogue there too when they first meet up. It's like, hey, what's the vibranium for? Ultron's like, I'm glad you asked that because I want to take this moment to reveal my evil plan.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's so good.
Hawkeye's here somewhere too, and so is Black Widow doing whatever. I don't completely remember, but I think this is also when the Ultron bots first show up too.
Yeah, this is the first of the chaff. Again, like I said at the beginning, a lot of this movie is they're the Avengers just fighting vastly underpowered foes. So this is again, there's no stakes in this. This is kind of just the only point of this whole scene is to give Captain America. Who else gets a vision? Thor gets a vision.
Okay, we got to talk about the Thor vision for a couple of reasons. One, the Thor vision makes absolutely no sense. Like, he starts seeing Asgard, Heimdall has no eyes, and the whole point of it is to expose the Infinity Stones, where, to kind of like cue you in that, yes, the Infinity Stones are in play, and then there's a little part of it later on. But for those that don't know, God, I said this like 4 times already, Loki was originally in this scene. Loki comes to him in this vision and comes to him again when he goes in the water. But when they showed it to test audience and people saw Loki, they got confused and thought Loki was the main villain. So they cut all of it out of the movie because it confused people.
Oh, jeez.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know.
It's stupid.
It didn't make sense to me. I thought they were neat. Like, again, Thor is in this kind of like Asgardian celebration, and Erdis Elba comes up and
the majority of this. We're missing a whole chunk more of this scene because it confused people.
Yes, and now that's like, okay, why did Thor leave at the end? Okay, now I'm like, all right. Yeah, now I know why I was confused. Okay.
Because Loki, he has a vision of Loki where then he realizes Loki, I think he starts to realize something's wrong with Asgard about Loki, and then he also starts to put together the stuff with the Infinity Stone, which they kind of briefly put into this movie. But there's so much more it was supposed to be there that we never got.
Well, so Thor has his final vision later on where that all comes together, but it is kind of out of nowhere. Yeah, none of it. It was always, for me, it felt really surreal. And Captain America with him and his lost lady.
I kind of like that one.
Yeah, fine.
This is where Scarlet Witch gets into their heads. This is her way of fighting them. And he sees Peggy Carter because they had to put her in a movie just because. The only one really worth mentioning is the whole one with Black Widow, where she ends up going back to when she was being trained, and it shows her training, and it shows her on a gurney, and it doesn't really talk too much about it. But it's all because when she became an assassin, they sterilize her, and that's what they don't reference that till later, but that's what that whole scene is all about.
I like Caps because it kind of touches on that. I think this is actually after. I think when the Avengers come in and Ultron's like says to Captain America, is like, you don't stand there and pretend like you could live without a war. And in this dream sequence, when the cameras flash, you hear subtle explosions in the background, like bombs being dropped.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and then the guy's laying on the ground with the wine spilled all over him. It's supposed to look like blood. It's kind of like, even in this subtle moment, all he can see is war around him.
Yeah, it's pretty effective. Again, for a lot of these, I kind of read it as just kind of surreal and waiting for it to pay off, and some of it doesn't. And now, like you said that, Mike, where the Thor stuff kind of just got lost in the editing room,
which sucks because they should have cut all the Thor stuff then, since it doesn't really fit because you're missing pieces of it. And I know it because I did a lot of research on this movie when it came out, because I was like, I was very digging for more information, so I know a lot of this stuff, but it's not something that the average person would know. And then we do got to mention that funny scene where Scarlet Witch tries to get into Hawkeye's head. And he's like, I already been mind controlled once, and he stabs her in the head with an arrow, and it starts shocking her, and she gets all upset.
Yep,
which does not work in their favor.
No, it does not. But it's interesting because I just like that again, kind of showing that they are pretty green at this. And there's also a scene where I think Captain America gets the best of Quicksilver, and kind of puts him in the corner with some boxes. Like, I forget the line, but he's like, just stop, just.
Yeah.
Oh
stay
yeah,
there.
he somehow gets him with a shield, hits him or something, and because they're green too. They're very amateur.
Yeah.
They don't really know what they're doing.
No, they're just using their abilities, but they don't have any tactics. And the Avengers, for all their infighting that's starting now, they're still a well-oiled machine. Like they know what they're doing as far as combat goes. So it's good. I do like that. It's a little more character building for me. Was like, oh yeah, these kids don't really know what they're doing, and they're kind of being manipulated.
Yeah, I mean they're
we also
being manipulated.
They are, yeah.
We also see another attempt from someone to pick up Mjolnir, where it's flying by Quicksilver in slow motion. He grabs it and goes with it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was funny. You are right. I forgot about that scene, but that was funny.
Yeah, and then Wanda goes after the big one, as she puts it.
That's a scene that, like, at least it makes sense because she does travel kind of quickly to where there is, but at least it makes sense because you have Quicksilver runs her over there. But God, is that? I mean, this is something that everybody's been waiting for, and I remember in the trailers that I was just watching while we've been recording, is they even show Hulkbuster in every trailer, and when you see Banner start to get messed with, and he's running off as Hulk, and he looks back, and his eyes are kind of red. It's like, oh fuck, and then you hear Hawkeye like, oh, the team's down right now. Because they're all fucked up from Scarlet Witch, and this is when you have the Hulk rage in town. He just starts ripping apart cars and throwing things, and of course he breaks it on a car, but the person has to get out of the car and run for their life because they gotta be okay. Can't show it on screen right now.
No killing, and that's kind of again fine.
I mean, I'm not upset with it. I'm just kind of making fun of Man of Steel.
There was one moment way later where I was kind of like, really, this is I really got to save her, just the one person, but which we'll get to.
I know what you're talking about with the red car.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
This is fine. This is big Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which I'm never the biggest fan of. But there's enough variety to make it fun.
I'm not either, but I really enjoy when Hulkbuster shows up and you see like this little satellite thing shoot all his extra armor, and at first he tries to trap Hulk in a like some kind of like shell or something, as a cave.
Yeah, I think it's just to slow him down while the Hulkbuster builds up.
Yeah, and the way he breaks out, I'm like, he could just go under it. And I'm thinking to myself, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he goes underneath it and comes out. And I'm like, I was right. But when the Hulkbuster first forms together, I guarantee when Mike saw this 5 years ago, Mike was like, yeah, clapping and everything, because it is still, hell, when I watched this morning, when I finished this movie, it's still fucking awesome.
So yeah, I was a total fanboy when it came on screen.
I didn't know what it was. I just saw him make a cage out of things, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess your robots can make a cage out of metal spikes. Okay.
Also, another Joss Whedon thing is they call it Veronica because he loves Betty, Archie comics.
Oh,
that's what
really?
The joke is. Yes.
Now he's weird. So I don't know.
Now he's weird.
Yeah, I guess.
I love this fight. Like this, even though I don't like heroes infighting, the fight between Hulkbuster and Hulk, like there's a part where Hulk throws a car, he catches the car, or Iron Man catches the car, and he just punches him through the car. Like, oh god, this is a good action scene. Like, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. And like, in one part, Hulkbuster's arm gets like fucked up, and he just has a new arm replace it.
Yeah, new arm. We're getting to the point with Iron Man where his toys can do anything that the script requires. Because a lot of that stuff doesn't make if you analyze it, it doesn't make sense. But the point isn't to analyze it; it's really to just enjoy it. Yeah, and that's good. There's room in the world for just enjoying stuff.
A couple parts of this fight that I have to mention is you have a part where they're inside an office building. They're getting Iron Man just getting the crap beat out of him in the Hulkbuster suit, and they got to rescue people again. Got to grab that elevator. Oh, we got to save those people. And there's one part where Hulk grabs him and just climbs up a building, smashing him against the glass that they're just running up the building. That I was smiling today when I watched that.
Does he rip out his like almost like his breastplate, right? Like when he's going to the side of the building.
He I saw that really bad.
Yeah, he's just, and again, I love watching Hulk just be an animal and just finding something to grab and throw it. It is rage. It is actual literal rage.
That's real apparent when Iron Man's got him like pinned on the wall and he's just like scurrying around like a freaking cat trying to get out of however he can. It's insane.
Yes, it's just
there's also where he captures his hand because he's punching, he's grabbing his fist, and then all of a sudden his fist turns out to be like a cage on it, and like it traps his hand.
It's a Chinese finger trap.
It really was.
Okay.
It's just goofy. Like,
Touché.
That was goofy. I mean,
Touché.
again, it's like, again, that's his suit can do anything the script asks him to.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah,
fine.
but
Let's not analyze it. Let's just enjoy it.
It was. I enjoyed it. That's the whole thing. And like when he throws him in that old building, he's like, "Hey, can we buy that building?" And he buys the building and throws him into a building that's being built because it's empty, it's vacant, so it's okay. And like you see the scene where he pops out from the rubble, looks around, and all of a sudden you see Iron Man's fist just punch him in the face, and that's it. Just a fist come across the screen and punch him. I was like,
"Yep." We get that close up on his face, and like his eyes go back to the normal color, so he's like snapping out of the vision or the mind control or whatever.
And punches him.
Right.
Yeah.
I was starting to really get on board with this movie, and I'm like, what's happening? What's happening here? Because I had been bashing this movie for the last 10 episodes we've been recording this, and I was starting to really like,
I felt really bad. I felt bad. I was like, I think I
bad.
really like this movie. And it's interesting too. This scene too is very important because not only you have the fun of watching Iron Man and Hulk fight. And again, if they were just punching each other and throwing things, I would have been very cool on it because again, I'm not a big fan of the two things just slugging it out. But there's so much verticality and like using environments and clever things happening. And every 3 seconds, there's something interesting going on, which makes it very visually fun and exciting. I was taking notes, and I tried to furiously take notes to this, and I just stopped. I was like, just enjoy this, Bill. Would you stop already? And
you're right.
Yeah, I would just stop. And it's also this is taking place in the public. Like, there's the aftermath scene where Bruce kind of looks around as Hulk looks around and sees people bleeding and carnage, and again realizes, as he's coming down, I did this, and I don't even know how. Right? Like he's looking at this like I just did this, probably thinking I can't be a thing. Like I'm a scary thing. And also I think they mention it later. The entire world saw this. And think of it from the world's point of view. They're sitting there, going shopping and getting to work, and all of a sudden 2 monsters are beating the hell out of each other and destroying half the buildings in town. That's not something that people would be like, "Yay, thank you, Avengers." But there was nothing wrong. Everyone was fine.
I mean,
everyone was just
again,
hanging out.
This is why Civil War happens not that long from now. I mean, Civil War, I forgot you have Ant-Man, you have Civil War. I mean, Ant-Man doesn't really count, so the next movie is Civil War in a way.
Right. I mean, that Ant-Man's just a setup for Civil War, but it's a
Ant-Man
very
just we were going to do this 5 years ago, and we finally got around to it. That's what Ant-Man is.
Right. But it's interesting. It's a very good, again, all of these action scenes seem to serve multiple purposes. They serve a purpose, except for a couple, but they serve the purpose to not only have some really fun action, but also to move a story along, which is what this movie needs to do.
And in my notes, I wrote the next part called "Sad Quinjet Ride," where they all look defeated and they're just sitting there. Hulk's wearing his blankie, his purple blankie, and he's like, "Oh, I killed people." Purple? It's purple. It's purplish, I think. So I'm pretty sure it's purple. Let's see. I have screenshots pulled up of this entire movie in front of me.
That's okay. It can be purple.
It's purple. It's a purplish thing over him that he has, a shirt or something, but it's purplish.
Yeah, just that line of "we took a hit." It's like it hurts.
Yep.
And then you get to go to the farm. They're like, we got to go to a safe house. Oh, it's a purple shirt that he's wearing over him, not a blinky.
Huh.
So I'm saying blinky on purpose, by the way. So just because it makes it sound dumber than it should be. And this is also when they're like, Maria Hill tells him, "Don't come back. Like nobody wants to see you right now. Like after what you guys did, you need to lay low." And Hawkeye's like, "Hey, I got a place we can go. I got a safe house." And they show up at the Hawkeye farm.
The Barton Farm with Linda Cardellini.
Hey, from Freaks and Geeks.
Oh yeah, okay, very good.
I do again more foreshadowing of losing Hawkeye because you find out he has a wife, and early there's a scene where he says something about, "Oh, your girlfriend." Like, I don't have a girlfriend. And then he's on the phone. He's like, who are you talking to? "Oh, my girlfriend." And it's just like I like this actress, and I like this sort of like some of these the farmhouse scenes where you have them just kind of like trying to figure out what the hell to do, and all of a sudden they find out that he has a wife and kids, and but then you find out that like Black Widow knows the family and knows the kids. She even goes up to the little baby and says, "Oh, you have a baby Natalie in there," and it's like, and she's like, "It's Nathaniel." Traitor.
I think it's just meant to like even further humanize Clint, that he's just this guy on this team of gods and monsters and whatnot.
And also that he's going to die in this movie.
Yeah, he's got the most to lose.
I wrote in my notes, I have to say this part, but after they start talking, this is when Thor, the toast pops out, and Thor has a vision, and he runs away and flies off. I said toast scares Thor. That's what it felt like. It toast really felt like that. And God, that vision thing just irritates the hell out of me because it doesn't serve its purpose. Because I want to see the 3.5 hour cut of this movie. I never will, because they have never released it, never will. But I want to see it because I'm really curious how much more there was dealing with Thor that did not make it.
Yeah, no, Thor has no reason to really leave. I guess, I don't know. Again, now that you mentioned that he's supposed to see an Infinity Stone vision and all the stuff we're supposed to see that was probably cut, it makes sense.
Loki says something to him in his vision.
And that wasn't there, so it made no sense why he left. It's like, I have to go, and there's other things going on, the bigger world out there, and boom, like, and again, thematically, from a standpoint of they're just breaking up a bit, like this is a relationship in trouble. Okay, I can buy that, but yeah, it didn't make sense. This when I first saw this in the theaters, I always labeled this as like this really saggy middle. Like this is just you spend a good amount of time on this farm that you know why it's happening, but man, the pacing is slow. Now I really like it, and I really enjoy it. And whenever or any critic really, because I was doing reviews at this time and I was writing reviews all the time. Whenever you watch a movie or I watch a movie, I try to divorce myself emotionally from it. And I try to evaluate from an objective point of view based on my belief system of what I think makes a good movie or a bad movie. Because if you start saying, I liked it just because I liked it, well, that's your subjective opinion, and that's good. And you should have opinions. It's important. But you should be evaluating a movie on your belief system, which goes beyond that. It's like, yeah, I like this, but this is not working for XYZ reason. Now, last night when I watched it, I was enjoying this on a very subjective level because, I'm a different person now than I was in 2015. I'm married. I have a kid. A second's on the way. So when Black Widow goes up to his wife's belly, is like, hey, little girl, and she's like, oh, little boy, and she goes, traitor. Like I go, oh, that's adorable. Like, and I see Hawkeye just reacting just like you said, Michael. You were perfect. He's just a dude. Like he's the guy in the group that really, other than Black Widow, who still had like specialized training, and we learned in this movie, he's just a guy who's good with a bow. Like he's a talented dude who does this job, and they treat it like a job. Like almost, she says to him while they're in the bedroom, so I get you going away for work again, as if he was going to a conference in Idaho. Like. Yeah. He's like, gosh, so you're the guy, like you're the guy who's gonna help bring them together, and he's just a dude. And I really was very charmed by him this time around when I wasn't first time. I remember that review I wrote. I didn't read it because that would have made me cringe, but I remember in the review I think I said something like, they spend so much time on the least important characters in the movie, Black Widow and Hawkeye. And now my pants were charmed. It was great. So I really think this is a nice little moment. You're still seeing them do stuff and watching their relationships degrade. Basically, you get there is that stupid scene with Black Widow and Bruce Banner again when he's in the shower and she's like, "I would have joined." Why? Why would you have joined him? Why would you have done that? I mean, listen, I know he's not Thor. Not everybody is Thor, but look, he's. What do you mean? Where's this coming? Yeah, good point. Good point, Bruce. Where is this coming from? I'm asking the same question as the viewer. Is it coming from nowhere?
And you also have right before this, you have Laura talking to Hawkeye. How long had Nat and Bruce been in thinking? He's like, what are you talking about? They're like, you can't see it. And I'm thinking of the audience. I'm thinking of Bill. Like, yeah, no, Bill's probably asking the same thing. Yeah, I don't see it either, Laura. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm on your side. High five. Why is this happening? So that stunk. It didn't ruin my again, this is the time, the low point, everyone's relaxing. There's no stakes. Like there's, they set up where this is a disconnected place where Ultron's not going to be, right? So there's no worries here. Everyone can take a breath. Everyone in the audience.
They also maybe show Ultron in Korea.
Right.
There's a little scene where he has the scepter and he's talking. He finds Cho and he's like, "You're gonna," and he says something to her. Then he just says that he just touches her with the scepter and just kind of corrupts her, just like in Avengers 1.
Yeah, he talks about how he wants her to use the cradle to make him a body, and she's like, "Well, I can't do that." He's like, "You just don't have the right resources," and you see the vibranium again, and then he just hits her with the scepter.
Yeah, that's good. You know, the scepter used to do things, which is fine. I that's fine. I don't mind that at all. Oh, and I like the Cap and again Tony's scene where they're
Wood
chopping
splitting.
wood.
Wood chopping.
Yeah, just like two dudes, doing dude things.
But hey, I don't know how many dudes you know that take the blog and just rip it in half and with
Well,
their bare hands.
I don't. As I've said a number of times on this show, physical labor is not my strong suit. So I don't. How you wield an axe, it's up to you. I don't know, but
I don't know how to wield an axe either.
Neither do I.
And this is also when you have there's a little scene, as I brought up again in this episode, but he keeps talking about how Hawkeye's gonna work on this and he's gonna work on this when he gets back. And I'm just like, I remember seeing things they're gonna fucking kill him. Like they are.
Oh man.
Wait, so hang on a second. You keep saying they're gonna kill Hawkeye. That doesn't. Hawkeye?
It doesn't happen, but the rumor at the time, if I remember correctly, that he wasn't going to make it out of this, someone wasn't going to make it out of this movie, and they keep foreshadowing his death throughout this movie. They keep saying, "Oh, I'm going to work on this when I get home. I'm going to tear down this wall."
You're right. You're right.
I'm like, and he almost dies multiple times in the movie. I'm like, they're going to get rid of him, and I think they might have, but then when they lost Quicksilver, they kept Hawkeye instead. I don't know if that part I'm completely guessing on.
You're right. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, there's a lot of foreshadowing. Like, I'm gonna take care of that last project, just one last project. Yeah, that is definitely a setup line.
2015 Mike was probably in super distress.
And if I had 2015 Bill would have been like 2015 Bill would have been dancing in his seat, like, oh, thank good. Get rid of the pawn, keep the queen, the king, and the rook. Like, it just gotta go.
You can, because I do know that there was 2 cuts of the ending of this movie where Quicksilver survived if they were able to use him.
Really, that's so weird.
Fox is an asshole.
Yeah, Fox, look, do something or shit or get off the pot, as my dad used to say.
It's called sell it to Disney. That's what they did.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
inconsequential now.
Yeah, it really is all in fun.
And this is
yeah.
And then you also have a really quick scene where Laura asks Tony, "Hey, can you go fix the tractor?" And then Fury shows up and does a whole little talk to Iron Man about what happened and everything, which is just.
I like that first line. Was whatever you do, try not to bring it to life.
That was funny.
This scene is so unnecessary. It's just kind of like Fury's at it again, still doing Fury things, and then can't you just stay out of it? But then he opens his mouth and it's Samuel L. Jackson. I'm like, oh, yeah. All right, you can come, you can join. Come on, you can hang out for a scene. It's fine. Real quick, just to back up, you can
tell I'm about to say something. But go.
No, I'll let you say in a second. I just want to back up to the woodcutting scene because I said that Captain America delivered that. Everyone who fights a war before it starts, people die. He says that here. So in case you were punching your steering wheel, I'm sorry, I pushed it ahead. So go ahead, Mike. I'll let you.
The thing that I need to say is you said unnecessary scene. Well, I got an unnecessary scene for you. You have the part where Thor goes and meets Selvig. And then Selvig's like, "Oh, hey, we can go to the special pool, but heroes that went in here have not come back," and this really dumb shit. And there's a scene in the trailer of a female standing in this pond who looks like someone from Wakanda, cut from the movie. Never seen, never mentioned, no idea what it represents. We never got it. It's in the website that I'm on right now that breaks down this movie scene by scene that I've been using to keep us along where we're going, along with my walk line. And it's in here, and that is not in the movie at all. I hate this part where you have him get electrocuted, then you get the whole Infinity Stone background, there are 4 Infinity Stones in play, and it shows you the Ether's the stone, the Tesseract's the stone. I'm like, if it's not here, it's very close. And it just irritates me because I know we're missing more of the scene. There's more stuff that was that Joss Whedon filmed that Disney went, no. Our audience is a bunch of dumb fucks. Cut that shit out. No. We want nothing. And it really makes me upset because I want to know more. I want to know what we're missing right here. And it all should be gone. It just doesn't, it breaks up the movie in a way that I don't like and it doesn't fit. I said my piece.
You're good. No, you said it. You said it all. I'll let Mike chime in a second. I wrote in my notes for that. I said, in London, Thor with Skarsgård, and that ended. That's my notes. It was like you said, okay, we did that now. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's just you're in this now. It was introducing too many things at once. It's introducing a bath of visions and Zap bath. He's going to be in water, so it conducts a thing, and then he sees the Infinity Stones. So now everyone knows Infinity Stones are a thing, I guess. I mean, for me as a viewer, I'm like, okay, those look important because you put them in space on the center of the screen. I'm
confused. It's later on when you get the Infinity Stone dump when he tells the team about.
Correct.
This
Yeah.
is
Well.
just where he sees things and starts putting it together. That's what it was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because
Even this plane's split in two, because like the first part of it is just my notes say London, Selvig. That's it.
No, that's it.
Then-
It's literally an end.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
there
then
was
later
a
on
couple-
is
You have Fury coaching the team. You have the Mind Stone being put in Vision. You have the team splitting up. And right before the team splits up and leaves the farmhouse, this is also where you have Laura and Clint kiss again. Because, again, foreshadow, he ain't coming out of this movie alive. I'm going to keep saying this. So, I mean, I can't believe how much foreshadowing there is with his death that never happens in this movie.
yeah.
that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, and again, this might be 2020 Bill watching this because I'm like, I never caught any of that because I know he's alive. Like I know he's in the other movies clearly. So I guess I never connected those dots. That's so interesting. Yeah.
I want to say Civil War either wasn't announced yet, or if it was announced, they didn't reveal a lot. They were very hush-hush at this time with certain things. This wasn't like now where we know we know almost the entire Phase 4 ahead of time.
Wow. And that again, that's like now it makes sense.
Maybe
They
I'm
didn't
wrong.
know. They didn't know. They didn't
Didn't
know
know
what
what
they
to
could get
do.
from Fox being all miserly with their half pieces of properties.
So, Mike, question for you. What did you think of the stupid Tony at the Nexus part, where that scene where he goes to the internet to find what's stopping Ultron from getting the nuclear code?
Yeah, because on the farmhouse, Fury mentions that someone is preventing Ultron from getting the codes, and that's when they figure out that he's probably after Cho, so that's why they split up. But yeah, the Nexus scene was kind of dopey. Like it's just so Tony can find Jarvis. Really, other than that, it serves no purpose.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was
They
just
do a
like,
little they do a little foreshadowing when they say that he hasn't hit the nuclear codes yet because something is changing him constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the little foreshadowing, and that might have been before this. 'Cause I think I
It's
got lost
before
in my
this.
notes. Okay, then never mind. I'll be quiet.
It's right before this. Right before this at the farmhouse
Okay, yeah.
that I skipped over.
It's your little bit of your Jarvis is still around foreshadowing because who else could have done that?
Yeah. And then they cut back to Thor again for Thor's bath time, where he has the vision of the.
I really
Like,
hate this scene. Okay, if I haven't made that clear enough, I hate this scene.
I mean, you gotta admit that it's pretty cool when he actually sees the stones and they morph from the objects we know them as into the stones, and then they're kind of silhouetted over a yellow cloud in the background. That's kind of awesome.
It would have been more awesome if we didn't get stuff cut.
Well, yeah, but that
Yeah,
moment,
that's right because they kept cutting back and forth between Thor and Skarsgård going to do a dream to the magic water, and then they're back in Oslo as Tony is walking in the data place. And then we go back to Thor, and he's imagining the Infinity Stones. And I'm like, man, stop ping-ponging. Let's just linger on something for a minute. But yeah, that's the data dump. That's the exposition. See all these things you've seen for the last 5 years? Here's the end result. These are all these stones. They make magic powers happen. And then Thor, I guess, realized it, though, although he knew there was... No, it's different than the different realms. Okay, never mind. So I guess this is like the realization for Thor. Okay, there's a bigger plan afoot. And the scepter that Loki's been carrying around for 5 movies, this is the Mind Stone, but I don't think he knows as that yet.
Yeah, no, they haven't. This is when we first find out that it is right, because I glossed over it a little bit. This is when he breaks the scepter open, takes out the Mind Stone, shoves it in Vision's head, and then Ultron starts uploading his conscious into Vision, which then, since he starts having flesh, even though he's still robotic, for some reason, that's when Witch is able to read his mind and realizes that he's going to destroy all humans.
Yeah, what do you think of that one, Mike? Yeah, or Michael rather.
Yeah, I mean, it's hurrying the plot along. So they need to get the twins on the good side. So yeah. I do like Ultron's speech about when the Earth starts to settle, God throws a stone at it. It's
very good.
A good line.
It's a good line. Yeah, and I like this. This is again. I felt it a little weird, and it makes sense because I guess it's robot brain. It's a neural net, so it works like a brain. But again, I'm like, well, you're not a computer hacker there, Scarlet Witch. Did she immediately, as soon as he receives like real sentience in this fake, not really human body? Which why would he want a human body since he doesn't really like humans in the first place, and that's who he's trying to eradicate? But I guess that has to be Paul Bettany in 20 minutes. So I don't know.
Yeah, they have the line about how he felt that humans need to evolve.
Oh,
so
right, yeah.
He's supposed to be like the first of a new race.
The first of a new style, yeah. So I don't know. It's just human bodies are so frail compared to the mechanical monster that he's been. So, but again, fine. Again, I'm not. Again, as soon as I see that body now in the case, I'm like Vision because I like Vision quite a bit. Because I like Paul Bettany quite a bit. But anyway,
he's a good actor.
He is a great actor. So yeah, he's It's fine. Again, we're moving along, like you said, and then
Cho gets shot for just because.
Because Wanda snaps her out of the mind
Right.
control thing, and
Oh
she
yeah, and
starts, she pauses the download or upload.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
so then he shoots her because he's angry.
And does he give like a
yeah,
like a sigh, crying, bang, yeah, great. I told you I was gonna do it again.
Yeah,
single side morality. I like that.
And this is when you have the team shows up and attacks Cho's place and tries to rescue her, but they find her dying, but not dead, but dying, and
doesn't die.
It's okay. Like I don't like this little scene, but I like it when they start going after the truck and you have another action scene where Cap jumps on the fucking truck. Oh, I was happy because I just love Cap. I have a thing for Cap America. Like he's an awesome character.
All right, you're.
I did after this movie. Like I said, everything he does is awesome. So
it is
everything. He is pure awesome. He's very good. It's a good battle.
Even though Hawkeye doesn't seem to think so. He's like, Cap, you're not a match for him. Thanks, Barton.
I love that. That's good too.
And then Widow when she's riding the bike because she drops the bike out of the Quinjet and starts chasing after him. And I like that part where she picks up the show. It's like, I'm always picking up your toys, guys. That was funny to me.
If you believe the toys, that part never happened because when the toys came out for this, it was Captain America on the bike coming out of the Quinjet.
Oh, I wonder if they changed it.
Wow.
No, I imagine it's more they don't think boys want a girl toy.
Good point. Because I know sometimes toys will follow an idea and then they will change. But that could have been. You're probably right.
Yeah,
we're seeing that right now with all the Wonder Woman 84 merchandise that's out, even though the movie isn't.
Interesting.
And Black Widow stuff.
That makes me so sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
It's a bummer. It'll come out. The sun will come out tomorrow. Even though right here in July. Hey, future everyone. Did the sun come out tomorrow? Are we out of this yet? Probably not. It's okay. It'll be all okay. Don't panic.
God, that reminds me. I saw a meme this morning. It's like someone said Black Widow should drop on Disney Plus. Someone said, if you want to see Black Widow drop on Disney Plus, jump to an hour 50 something of Endgame. Like,
oh no. Boy! Oh boy!
That's not right.
That was. Whoever did that is cold-blooded. That's rough.
That's funny though.
Pretty good. It's a good joke. It is good.
I still hate that part, but we'll get there someday. So this is also when you have Nat ends up on the truck too. I don't remember why. I wrote that in my notes. Oh yeah, she's trying to. This is when she's okay. If I remember correctly, this is when she's trying to get the coffin or the crate, or whatever the hell it's called, and Cap is busy fighting Ultron. Cap gets knocked onto a train. I can think of a Spider-Man too. And he's fighting Ultron, trying to distract Ultron so they can get the cradle. And this is also when the twins finally show up on the good guy side.
Yeah, Cap has that great line. I think Hawkeye's like, just keep him busy. And then Cap's like, what do you think I'm doing?
Yeah,
think I've been doing.
There's good dialogue throughout with the characters in the movie.
That's a Wheaton touch. That's a Wheaton joke, but it really works because it's integrated in the action that we're seeing.
Movie.
Right.
It's not like watching. That's not like they cut to a person on the train playing Game Boy because Game Boy's old. Look at that. I see that thing. I know that thing. So let's put it in the movie.
I'm glad that
Avengers had a bit of
Wheaton is done. Like he did these two movies and he was done.
Oh yeah,
he's definitely a more natural fit this time around than it was.
Absolutely, kind of the craft is there a lot more integrated. This is cool. Again, there's lots of stuff. I really enjoyed when the it was a very goofy looking though. It was very silly when the truck trailer lifts off. I don't remember how that happened or who put them there.
The Ultron Legion are lifting it up from the outside, and then their faces open up, and they have like thrusters inside them.
Yes.
Like, what practical use does that have?
Right, because the script said you have to get this thing off the air, and that'd be kind of cool if they could do that. Someone had an idea and they didn't really think to like establish it. They just said, moving on, let's just get this movie over with. I thought it was just very silly looking when this trailer, they have a very long wide shot of this trailer just cruising through space on these robot faces. I laughed. I was like, that's so stupid looking, but I'm giggling, so I guess it's worth it. It's so silly looking. But yeah, this is good. Again, there's lots of phases to this. There's lots of hands in action. Hawkeye's actually having some agency. And a lot of times he doesn't, because again, he's just an arrow guy. But he's like luring the drones away in the spaceship, and yeah, this is cool. And again, Captain America does a lot of the heavy lifting in this, and it's very good. Ultron showing himself to be capable enough in battle. You know, it's not really his thing, I don't think. As he's a doer so much as a fighter. You know, if that makes sense.
He's got some kind of telekinesis power too, which I thought was kind of odd.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, that's weird. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's odd. Well, okay.
Yeah,
He
because
did
he's
not.
like tearing up chunks out of the road.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and
Somehow.
it's only in this one part too. It goes away after this.
Yeah, because that would have been really useful later on in the movie. Yeah, that
In
makes
my
no sense
famous
whatsoever.
words, I got nothing. I got nothing. It didn't make any sense, but
Yeah, that's weird.
I went
Yeah,
along
but
with it.
that's
Yeah.
dropping this movie some points now. I can see this score falling in my brain, but no, not that much. Whatever. I don't care. It's fine.
This is
I
also
completely glossed over that. Yeah,
like right after they get the cradle, they lose because Black Widow's trying to jump on the Quinjet and she gets grabbed by one of the Ultron bots by the
Mhm.
leg. That
Right.
apparently punches her in the face or something because she has a split lip later on when you see her. So, but that does nothing here nor there. But he grabs her and then she disappears and then Clinton's all upset and they're like, "Get out of here!" And he's like, "I gotta get her!" And then they're like, "Go!" And he doesn't want to go, which fits Hawkeye. You know, he loves her. So, and then this is when you have the Spider-Man 2 moment when they're trying to stop the train. I actually enjoyed this little scene where you have Quicksilver running out and grabbing people and moving them, and Scarlet Witch trying to slow down the train. It's going through walls. Like I was like, okay, I'm amused. I don't know why, but I'm amused.
Seeing her powers to like go under the train and try to hold the wheels in place was pretty sweet.
It was actually somehow.
very cool. Yeah,
Just the effects.
yeah. We're just trying to give them things to do, so when one of them buys it at the end, we feel something, which I don't think anyone does, but. Now that I know all this backstory, that it was supposed to be like Hawkeye and
I
or
really
baby,
think
or you think your theory? I like your theory.
Well, it's my
canon.
theory, but I can't. I feel like it was rumored before this movie came out that someone wasn't coming out of this movie alive, and Hawkeye made the most sense at the time to lose him because you're adding 2 new Avengers. You don't really need Hawkeye in this movie. You're constantly building up that like he has a family, he has this, he has that. Like it really felt like that's where they were trying to head with this movie. They don't go there, but it really.
I definitely feel like I remember hearing rumors of someone not making it out too.
And even his ending shot. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm gonna stop talking about it. So we'll get there. Yeah. So this is good. It's an effective scene, and we end up back at the lab. Unless anybody has anything else on.
Yeah,
this.
because Wanda's like,
Oh, yeah, we gotta finish
where's the cradle? It's like, I sent it Stark's like, that was dumb.
Yeah,
I like that.
that
Like,
was.
Ultron's willing to do anything to fill his ideals. Where do you think he got that from?
Yep, very good. It's a very good, insightful moment from her, because again, she kind of gets who he is, and it was like it was actually an interesting moment of Cap probably making a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
He made she's right. That was a poor decision on his part, and he's the guy who makes all the right ones. But again, as a leader, he has to make a decision, and sometimes they're bad, and this was not a good one.
And
So-
Right. Yeah, she's definitely right because they cut back to the tower and Tony's like, "Hey, Jarvis was the guy that was stopping Ultron. Let's put him in the cradle."
Yeah.
And Banner is like, "What are you thinking? No, please don't stop it." And that's when like I think Tony has this moment. I was like, "Look, again, he's repeating the theme from before, but he's like, look, we're mad scientists. This is just what we do. We're crazy people. So let's just do what we do and make cool science happen."
But it's right before the scene where you have Natalie where she's sitting in a cell and she has a split lip that I was making fun of because I'm like, well, how did she get a split lip? But she has
That's
split
right
lip.
after. That's actually right after this. They don't start there.
Oh, maybe I have my notes wrong. But I like this part where Ultron's talking to her and he's starting to kind of explain her plan. And as he's talking, you see a hand rip into Ultron's face, pull it apart, and he's like, "And we evolve," or something. He makes some kind of comment.
It's like whatever doesn't kill us makes me stronger.
It's great. And he just has
Very
her locked
cool.
up in a cell for no reason whatsoever. Just he's like, whatever, I gotcha.
His new body is freaking giant. It's like 9 feet tall.
And it's also closer to the comic version of him.
Right.
It's still not the comic, but it's the head shape is closer.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about his design. He actually looks super cool.
The Funko Pop does not.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I don't know about that, but he does look fantastic. I mean, what's really great about him is that it takes the best parts of Transformers and removes the worst part. So he's very articulated, and he can make great facial animations, and they all make sense. Like I said in the original Iron Man 1,000 years ago, it's cool when tech makes sense, makes physical sense. It's not like fish scales and nanomachines and whatever else it is. It just makes sense, right? Everything, and he can emote really well. His eyes are emotive, even though they're pretty static. They don't really do much, but he has eyebrows and his facial expressions. It's excellent. It's an excellent design. and just looks freaking badass from just a visual standpoint.
The only part that like is kind of off-putting is they like gave him teeth. They're like weird silver teeth inside his mouth. It's a little odd.
Well, you need something to break when his face gets smashed in to make it look creepy and gross. I guess. Yeah, teeth are weird. Like, what's he doing? Chomping down on a hamburger? I guess what does he need teeth for? That's a very good
I
point.
could use a hamburger right now.
Man, you ain't kidding. It's noon. I got the case of the hungries.
Yes.
Anyway, that was
I have to go
useless. That was a
somewhere
useless
later.
sentence. So yeah,
That's
no,
fine.
he looks fantastic. I agree with you. I agree with you, Michael.
And then we were talking before. You have Jarvis. Like at that part where he puts Jarvis into the cradle because he's an idiot. That's a good way to put it. And this is also when you have the Avengers start squabbling again, and they're fighting because again you start seeing more and more of them not agreeing with each other. Like, you just created Ultron, now you're gonna put Jarvis in this thing that we don't understand. And the part where Thor just shows up and hits it with lightning, it feels like we're missing something again. Because he does it supposedly because of his vision, that the Mind Stone, he was going to hit it with lightning and activate it to make Vision. Like, he knew about it, but
that he sees a vision of like the world being sucked into abyss, and at the center is the Mind Stone. So he figures, why not get it on our side if we can before that happens.
So you read that as him trying to see? That's a very confusing bit because we all got something different out of it. You saw that as him trying to like activate it. I saw him as trying to stop it or override it or blow it up or destroy it because
maybe that's more accurate.
Because he saw it because he's seen it. He saw in his vision this it being destructive. Yeah. And also, may I just back up 2 seconds? I'm sorry. I just want to very quickly, when she's back in the cage, and we'll go back to them in the cradle. The cage in the cradle. He locks her. So Ultron locks her in a cage with a radio with a Morse code device. Like, did he? Unless he wanted that to happen, all of a sudden she's tap 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 tap, and then Hawkeye just happens to be by a bunch of radio equipment. Tap 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 tap. Like, really? That was just. Oh no, was it Banner? I guess it was Banner by it because Banner goes.
No, it was Hawkeye.
It was Hawkeye. So I don't know.
Character.
That just seems so. I was like, really? All right, movie.
Yeah.
I've played your little game for far too long.
I hadn't thought of that, but like they do say later on that Ultron's waiting for them before he starts his plan, so it's possible he intended it.
And he's bummed out. Yeah, I guess. And Ultron's bummed out that everyone hates him. His morality gets through. He says it. He's like, everyone hates me now. Like, he's bummed. Yeah. So we can go back to the lab now. And yeah, I read Thor with his lightning as, I need to destroy this thing and use all my might because this thing is more dangerous than you think.
That's more accurate. Not the way I took it,
but it wasn't clear. See, so the movie wasn't clear.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like we're missing parts of it that we should have had.
No, I totally agree with you now as we're talking about it. No, I agree. Don't mind.
It's like, I felt like it was kind of a callback to the first Avengers when Thor hits Iron Man with his lightning and it powers up the suit. When he hits the cradle, it shows a power overload on the monitor.
Right. That reads to me, I'm trying to destroy it. I want to break this thing.
It really could go either way. It's very unclear.
It's very ambiguous, yeah. And it shouldn't be. This is an important part of the movie. But this is the part. Yep, go ahead.
Naked Vision.
Naked Vision.
Naked
Vision. I put it in my notes.
Naked Vision.
That's what it looked like. He gets up. He doesn't put on his cape or his cloak yet. He's just this red figure that just wakes up and he starts punching them.
Yeah, he kind of has this like Prometheus moment. Like, he kind of crawls up and stands. Yeah. This leads into my. Well, they all start wailing on him, right? They don't.
Thor fights him a little bit. I want to say just because he punches him, and he doesn't take long for it. He's staring out the window, puts on the cape, then he starts talking. They realize it's Paul Bettany, Jarvis's voice, and they calm down. And
I do like that bit where he just looks at Thor's cape. He's like, "Yeah, I want one of those too." He just makes a cape.
He makes a cape. Yeah, which is very cool. But that scene where he kind of flies to the edge of the window is probably my favorite scene in the movie. It is gorgeous. He's at that window. There's this big wide shot, kind of a wide kind of crane shot from the outside, and you see the lights of the city beneath him, and you see just this big window, him just staring out. Because this is the first time he's actually physically seen something, and he's just looking at this very beautiful
I didn't catch
scene.
it like that.
Oh, I thought it was gorgeous. And then he's kind of like, and he's looking at his reflection. His reflection comes into view, and he sees himself as a self. Like, he's never had a self. He's always been in things Tony's made, and he's realizing he's now a sentient being in a very cool body, whatever vibranium made body. and it is visually stunning. And I that was like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Because again, it's somebody coming to life. It's like watching someone be born and have those first moments. One of the things I like asking people about games, because this is normally a gaming show, but games is, what's the one game you wish you could play all over again for the first time? Like experience it for the first time, like have that first time moment. And that's a first time moment for him. And it is so effective. And I was just gorgeous. And then what he's saying after that, he has these lines is like, whose side are you on? I'm on the side of light.
Yeah. It's not that simple.
Yeah, I'm not that. I'm on the side of life. Like, so, and he actually, again, towards the end with Ultron, he has another amazing moment at the end with Ultron. And it's just beautiful, beautiful. He recognizes he's in pain, but he's got to be destroyed. I understand who he is, because he's been blocking him all for this whole thing, and he's learned him. Ultron's in pain, and but we have to stop him. And it's because he's going to wreck the world if left up to his devices. And then he picks up the hammer.
Yeah.
Which
it's like I don't know how to make you trust me, but we need to go. And he just hands Mjolnir to Thor.
That is a great part.
It's so awesome.
And I didn't get it the first time around. I just didn't get it. I thought it was just a joke, like a callback to the original. And then I actually shouted. I went, he's worthy. Oh, okay. I get it.
Yep.
Yes.
That whole part pays off from earlier.
Yay, he's worthy. I seriously did not catch that, 5 years ago when I first saw it, and I haven't seen it since. That made me really glad. Like, I was like, oh, this is great. Now Thor's like, gotcha. You're on our team. Very good.
Let's go. Yep.
I'm picking you for the kickball team. You're in.
We got our cool suit up sequence where we're introduced to Friday, the new Jarvis replacement. You don't like Friday?
No, I do not.
Really?
Friday's from cool. The comics though too. So, but no, I just don't care for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was neat, like the Jarvis replacement. No.
I even changed my Siri to have an Irish accent because of her.
And then this is also like when they go to, then after I do like the prepping scene real quick where they're grabbing stuff. He's like, we got 3 minutes, and I was kind of curious, like, because all of a sudden Quicksilver grabs some shoes, and I'm like, why do they have his size of shoes? Like, I was thinking to myself, like, you're not part of the team, buddy.
Yeah, I guess. Good point.
It's stupid, but it came to my head, and he throws her the red jacket, which again I smiled because she's supposed to wear red. So I'm like,
yep.
And he puts on a blue shirt because he's a blue character.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when you start having them. They go to Sokolovia and they start the evacuation. They just start trying to, like, I like the part where Quicksilver runs into the police. He's like, you gotta go. And nobody goes. He runs in with an AK-47, starts shooting, and then they all start moving. It was fun.
Get off your asses.
Yeah, that's very funny. Before that, though, that's when Bruce Bruce rescues Black Widow. The only way that Bruce could, I don't know. I guess because everyone's gone because they're now gone to go do the destruction.
Oh
thing.
Yeah, that's also right at this point. No, they know where she is.
Yeah, because of the Morse code.
Bruce doesn't want to fight because he's upset after how many people he killed in Africa. He doesn't want to go Hulk, so he's the one sent to go rescue her.
Right, and he wants to. He's like, let's just disappear. And she's like, kind of thinking we got like a job to do. And isn't this the moment where? No, this is not the moment.
There's a couple things that happen right before.
Yeah, okay, I'll wait.
But we'll get there.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
You have Iron Man confronts Ultron, does a little speech or something. I don't remember the details because I didn't care. But I like what comes right after this. Is that's when all of a sudden all the bots start climbing out of everywhere, and it reminds me like a horror movie or something where you just see them coming out of the ground, coming out of everywhere, and just. And I love that because the whole idea that Ultron is every single one. He can control any one of these bodies is him.
Right, at the same time, basically. But in the church, isn't that when Vision starts to kind of hack Ultron almost because he shows up?
Vision shows up, and I like that because with the internet, I mean, the idea anything can be everywhere as we've seen in today's world, and Vision ends up grabbing his head and burns him out of the internet, so he cannot run away, and he can only go inside the bodies he already has.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because we got to finish. We got to get this movie done. Like, come on, what do we got to do? Run around to every computer and turn it off and unplug it? No. Let's just let Vision do a Vision thing, and let's now cool. Get to the end here.
This is also when he activates Leviosa, as I put it in my notes.
Yeah, he says you took away my world, I'm going to take away yours, and activates the lift.
Leviosa. It's Leviosa right now. I think it goes right. It's been a while.
Something like that.
So, but
then it cuts back to Nat and Bruce. Where they kiss. I'm sure Bill was super excited.
Oh, my heart went aflutter when they embraced. And
I'm sure the beer got spit out or whatever you're drinking. Fuck, I'm sure that happened.
At least the next bit's good. It's like, I adore you, but I need the other guy. She just pushes him off a cliff.
Yep, that's good, and that's a good. And that actually brought to my brain, like, again, she's OG Shield, and this actually kind of like at the very end when we see Fury again, I'm thinking, is she manipulating him this whole time? Because again, this romance comes from nowhere. Like, there's no reason for her to be flirty. And he's for the whole time, what are you doing? I don't know. So is this like her way of like manipulating and controlling him? Like, I'm going to smack the shit out of him and throw him down a pit. He will turn into Hulk if I throw him down to a pit. Like you said, I need the other guy. So that kind of,
I want to say no, but it would fit her character.
It would fit her character. It would fit her as a Shield agent. You know, she's OG Shield, right? Like that's.
I'm only saying no because I like her, and that idea makes me not like her as much. So I'm saying no.
I don't know. That would make more sense. And make me dislike the relationship less, or make me like the relationship more. I don't think so. I think I just came up with a better idea. Damn it.
And then I like the way that she gets up to the island, because the island's already been floating away at this point. She rides Hulk, and he like on his back, and then he pulls her all the way up there.
And it's cool they have a connection, right? She can do that. Like nobody else probably could. And it also shows Bruce really starting to learn how to control and have a little more agency over this monster that he is. Which is important because that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to the whole movie he's basically saying, and at the end he's like, I can't control this. This is a weapon that has no steering wheel on it. You know, like this is a tank with no steering wheel, and this can't be. Like I can't be because I'm smart enough to know that. But in these moments, he's starting to learn. Like I got some control. I'll let I'll let Black Widow kind of like shoot me up the. Utilize me as at least a usable weapon as opposed to a wild, rampant one.
Good way to put it. And then you have a dumb scene that I wrote in here just because it needed to be in here because of Indiana Jones. There's a part where you have they're rescuing some people. They're like, get in the tub.
I had a good laugh at that.
Away in a tub.
Yeah, from what you've been saying, it sounds like they just wanted another scene of people being saved.
Yeah. I couldn't find anything when I Googled, but I swear I remember tons of backlash when Man of Steel came out. I just can't remember, unfortunately. But I feel like that's got to be the only reason why you have all this shit constantly. And right now, we're in the last third of the movie where you have Ultron bots everywhere. Some people escape. Most people didn't. And they're trying to save people while they're fighting Ultron bots.
Yeah, not to get off track with Man of Steel. There was a lot of backlash for that. That was... Yeah. And rightfully so, because, again, I'm from northern New Jersey. I grew up about 20 minutes from New York, and my wife was in New York at that time because she lived in New York for about 14 years. And so anything that comes up that looks 9/11-y really hits a weird chord with me. Now, I wasn't in the city for 9/11. I'm not misappropriating that at all. Again, I lived about 20 or so miles from it. But so anything though that has that kind of like smell to it, where whenever I see like buildings in New York getting smashed, like I said in Avengers, I always think of it. I always think like, oh my God, there's people in there. Like I cannot not think that when Man of Steel happens and they're literally leveling buildings in Metropolis, and I'm thinking just like there's 1,000 people in that building, like that just collapsed. Hey, asshole, maybe take your fight to a desert where you're not destroying everything. Yeah, I despise that. So yes, I could see that being a big backlash and having a reaction in this movie. Like we gotta save some people. We can't show people getting destroyed. Break the unfinished building. Cool, whatever. That's property values. Oh, sorry. That's a different thing. So yeah, no, I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah. Oh, and I think I skipped over this, but there is a scene where Banner is talking to Nat how he wants to leave, and he talked about during that sour scene. I think he talked about how I can't have kids, and she's like, and that's when she tells him how she can't have kids.
Yep. Yeah.
Very important scene because they talk about how she got one of the things about when the Red Room in her training they sterilized. So that plays such a big part in her character. But also like when you have all the team fighting and you have them killing robots and robots and robots, this is also when you have the big Hawkeye speech.
Oh man, this is probably my favorite moment in the movie.
It's fantastic.
I love this line.
It's
the
number 2.
City's flying. We're fighting an army of robots, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
It is a wake-up call to the audience and a wake-up call to her, and it shows him being just not decisive. I'm trying to find the right word for this. It's very good because again, he's just it's like a slap. Hey, Wake up, sunshine. You can have two choices. You can either sit here in the rubble and hide, which is fine. Go ahead. You sit here in the rubble. But if you're going to jump out, you got to help.
Yeah,
because
you step out that door, you are an Avenger.
You step
I
out
really do like that scene.
Oh, I love it. It's got this directness to it. It's got like this almost like an army thing. It fits his character because he's a soldier, essentially. Like that's who he is. And it's like kind of like what Captain America would say, but almost more direct and almost a little mean. Like if you want to sit here and do nothing, sit here. We'll make sure your brother gets you. Fine. We want no judgment. But if you jump out of this thing, you are an Avenger, and now you got to help out. Like don't just whine and run around. So interesting because he's got stakes. Because again, he's not Thor, right? He gets hit by 3 bullets, he's dead. As we're all thinking. As Mike is thinking, I wasn't thinking that. As Mike is thinking, I get hit with 3 bullets, I'm done. But you, with all your superpowers, if you don't want to use them, fine. But just don't follow me. Don't get in my way. Because, like you said, I got arrows. What in God's name? Which I've been thinking about for 7 movies or whatever. You just got arrows. Like, what are you really doing here? So it is my second favorite scene, other than the beauty of Vision realizing that he's sentient and he has a body and he's a person. Very
it's really good though with everything happening. Like when you have them trying to rescue people and you have them fighting. Like I really got into all this action later in the movie more than I was expecting to.
Including the woman in the red car?
That stupid.
Part is
Cut that. Give me more Thor in the bath. Tell me whatever the hell he's doing there.
I
need more of that.
You have a car fall off. He's holding the bumper. Then Thor grabs the girl, tosses the girl up to Cap, and Cap throws her on the bridge and saves her.
So I'm not a doctor, but her arm would be so out of that socket at the very least, if not just completely ripped off of her body when he throws her with that much force.
You know how much gross stuff I like. That would have been great. Actually, I forgot to actually save her, and I actually thought that was going to be like a cathartic moment where Captain America realizes I can't save everybody.
That would have been better.
Oh my God, it would have been better. I thought it was. I literally, because that red car starts going down, and I'm like, oh wow, she's going to die. And I just said, not to reiterate myself, maybe Captain realizes, I can't always be the hero. That would have been a really cool character building moment.
What happened?
Yeah, and instead, it's too late in the movie to learn a lesson.
And you also have the other car.
We have an entire MCU, and look, we're like an hour 45 in this. Yeah. And we got a lot to do still.
This episode is almost longer than the movie at the moment.
It's going to be.
I knew that already.
Everyone, hey fam, who listen to this thing, these episodes are going to be long. So listen, you know what? Break them up into pieces. Do what I do. Listen to them while you're doing the dishes or something. Yeah, while you're doing the dishes, listen 20 minutes, come back later. It's fine.
That's why we recorded earlier today.
Indeed.
I knew this was going to be a 3-hour episode.
Indeed. All right, wait till.
So in the other car, I know when the other car gets picked up, that after like his Thor grabbed both cars, you also see the people get out and they start throwing up. It just said retching on my subtitles. I was laughing, but it makes sense. That's what I'd be doing too.
Yeah, I mean,
I did like it. This is around the time when Widow ends up extending her little shock things, and she just starts. I love
so
that.
Awesome. Just that slow-mo walk of her exiting the building and just letting loose with her powers is so badass.
And again, you have, as I wrote in my notes, team moves. I don't remember exactly, but you have tons of like them doing, as you said before, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 moves. Constantly.
Yeah, and they have to, because this scene is really just a bunch of fighting robots that are really no threat. And again, this is it's really just a swell of things. There's even a scene later when they're all surrounding the the flight MacGuffin, whatever it is, where he's like, is that all you got? And he brings all these robots. And I'm thinking, just do the Thor hammer thing again. Just take your shield, smash it, and you're done. But
as dumb as that scene is, I like it.
We'll get back to that. I mean, it's a little later, but you have to have, if you're gonna fight just basically dummies, like literal, they're just dummies. They're just things to blow up because blowing up things are cool in action movies. I mean, listen, I'm a guy. I mean, not saying I'm a guy, but I'm a person with a brain. Like, I enjoy that. That's fun. But if you're going to do that, do it in an interesting manner. And they do. It's like you said, there's lots of lots of combos and, like in a video game, people leaping off of each other. And again, I tried to take scattered notes. I just gave up and just watched it. But it was good. I remember not liking it as much when I first watched it because there are no stakes. The only stakes we have are these things are now preventing our heroes from stopping the big problem, which again is the scene of the city lifting off. And I don't know if we're quite there yet.
Oh, it's happening. It's getting pretty high. This is around the part where you would have had her looking out the edge saying, hey, if we're going to die, this isn't a bad way to go.
Oh, so we've gotten there. Okay, so we've already...
You have Thor fighting Ultron, and then he also like blows up that body, but of course Ultron has more bodies. It doesn't happen right there. It happens a little later, but he does. Oh, I think I'm skipping ahead. But this is also when you have Fury shows up with the helicarrier, and all the little lifeboats start coming out. Because why not?
So did we paper over the big hero shot of all?
We haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't gotten there yet. Okay.
Nope, that's a little bit.
Yes, you're right.
Soon.
Shield ship. Sorry, there's a lot going on in the scene, folks.
It's a lot in this movie.
It's
like,
a
Act
very
3.
It's a very busy Act 3 final battle thing. So yes, the shield ship appears. They deploy some of those cargo ships, so everybody can now get off safely because people can't die. You're 100% correct.
And War Machine shows up. Terrence Howard.
Mike, I think you're confused.
Yes.
I know.
I know.
100 movies.
I like that. I like it that he was included. Like they have Bogey start attacking the ship. Like we got a plan for that. And then War Machine finally pops out and starts doing something. So I was like, okay, they found a way to put him in this movie. Yeah.
He uses his shoulder gun a lot, which is very cool. He says this dumb line. He's like, "Here comes the War Machine." And you're like, "You are a cornball, my friend. That's not good. Don't say those words."
He's in it for the glory. He's like, "This is going to be a great story."
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he's this. Story. Yeah, I kind of.
I like his character better later. Not in this movie. It's kind of blah.
He's only here for a minute. Yeah. It's not. I don't begrudge it.
But
yeah, they got to show him do something.
Which made me happy though. Because it bugged me that he wasn't in Avengers.
Yeah, no, he'd be. Yeah.
Again, if you're going to introduce, they fixed that in the later movies. They introduce a character that's around in this world. They have to be where everything is happening. You can't just have them hiding out somewhere.
Yeah, but the problem with War Machine, the problem with War Machine is he doesn't really have anything interesting to do. Like he doesn't have anything that's not on Iron Man. Like he's like Mark III of the Iron Man suit, and he's on Mark 85. So I don't know what else he really does, and I don't remember. So. Like he doesn't have like a chest core where he can shoot the big laser. He just has some pretty cool armaments that were designed by Sam Rockwell. I'm sure they replaced them, but
you also have an Ultron bot like burst into the helicarrier where they have to go. They shoot it, which is kind of cool. You see
that, the way that thing crawls around the ground. Like Mike and I just played through Silent Hill, and it made me think of that instantly. The way it just crawls along the ground, super speed.
I thought of Resident Evil. I was thinking Resident Evil. Don't they do a lot of that too? Very video gamey. It was so cool. This creepy grinning face.
And this is the part you were talking about. They go meet up at the core, and right before as they're all trying to get to the core of the church is because there's some machine that's the machine that's raising the island is in the core. You have a very quick part with Nat driving a plow truck running over Ultron bots, which made me smile.
Yeah, is this where she and Clint are talking? He's talking about remodeling the house some more.
No, that's a little bit after when they're trying to escape and they're driving a car together.
Oh yeah, they're in some kind of convertible.
Again, right before he should have died. I mean, it's just constant.
It all adds up. It really does add up. I'm on board with you. I'm on your side.
And this is also when you have when the Ultron army attacks the church and he makes that line, "That all you got?" And then he just summons up like hundreds of them right after that.
Is this when Vision uses Mjolnir?
Yes, when I think Thor and Vision use it to knock out Ultron.
Yeah, okay. He's like, I only have so many things to say. He's like, I'm son of Odin, and then he hits him.
I'm running out of things to say. Are you ready?
Clever Thor is such a wonderful character. I love his arc from just this jerk dude who takes himself too seriously in the original Thor, son of Odin and Loki and my father. And now they've realized he's way more fun when he's just more affable and just a little more clever. He'll make that joke, and when jokes like that come out of his mouth, it's wonderful because again, we've built to that this whole series so far. So yeah, that's a wonderful little moment.
Until they go full ham in Ragnarok, but we'll get there.
When he turns into a slapstick character,
we'll get there.
I know we will. I haven't seen it since it came
out.
I
have thoughts.
I'm excited for that one too. But this is also when you have the money shot where they're all in the church and they end up surrounding that thing, and all these bots just come everywhere attacking them. The only purpose is to hit this one little button on top of the whatever the hell that thing is. And I love this scene. Like I remember not enjoying it as much as I thought I would, but I really enjoyed watching them just all fight together, ripping apart these bots, trying to stop Ultron from doing the one thing he's trying to do, which is at this point reverse the polarity of the island so it shoots into the earth and just kills many people as he can.
Yeah, you got the camera panning around with the button in the center, and you just see each Avenger destroying a bunch of bots in their own ways. It's pretty awesome.
It's really cool. And then I like it right after this when the real Ultron they end up electrocuting him, shooting him with repulsor beams, and Vision shoots him with his beam all at the same time. They just start melting him.
That's it. Yeah, they start really like melting him. Those hero shots seem so forced for me. They're fine. But again, this is a device to give everyone in the audience the hooray moment. The Avengers are back together. Here's the new Avengers. And then the new Avengers eventually, within 15 minutes, go away and have a new Avengers on top of the new Avengers. But here's the Avengers. They're a team again. Everyone's back together. Hip, hip, hooray. And
it's just trailer bait. It's just stuff for the trailers.
Yes, it's big trailer bait. It's big poster bait. It's big whatever bait.
And this is also...
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Keep going.
Oh, no, I'm just going to repeat myself. It's fine. I think it's a very effective moment. But I didn't get that sense of hoorah, hooray, yay, we're back together. I got this idea of like, we're a slow motion shot. What is this, like 10 years ago? We're done with these. We don't do slow motion shots anymore in movies. So yeah, it didn't affect me as much as I think other people, but it's there. It's got to be there. It's a piece of the puzzle that needs to fit. So there.
And you have like a lot of stuff happening at once. You have Vision and War Machine are stopping all the flying bots that are trying, because Ultron realized he's losing, so he's trying to escape the island now with at least something. So, because if he gets away with just one body, he doesn't die, and they know that. So they're starting to gun those down. You have all the Avengers heading to the boats. This is the part when Hawkeye and Natalie are in a car, and you have that line where he's like, "I'm going to tear down that wall." And again, I felt more foreshadowing his death. Mm-hmm. And then Scarlet Witch also, she's the one that volunteers to stay behind because somebody has to watch the button until it's time to go. Because if they don't, as you see in a little bit, what happens if one robot touches that button? It's all over. And you also have Natalie, like, she tries to do the Hulk lullaby. Like, she gets Hulk. She's like, okay, it's time for the lullaby. And then he's about to do it, but Ultron had ran into a Quinjet, and he's driving the jet, and he shoots the Hulk, which, again, distracts the Hulk, and he runs off. And I think he ends up jumping into the Quinjet and rips Ultron out of it.
Yes.
Which is cool. But another big scene that I didn't realize the importance of it is you have, when Ultron is still in that jet, you have Hawkeye standing on a carrier. He's about to go, and somebody's like, my son didn't make it. And he gets out the jet, and he runs to go save the kid. And as he goes and he grabs that kid, you have... you see the Quinjet line up. He's been shooting. You see the shots coming. I'm like, oh, that's the end of Hawkeye. It also Quicksilver, for some reason, can't grab them and run. He runs in front of the bullet.
No, he pushes them out of the way.
But he could have just grabbed them. I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we don't need
like
them.
You said, they couldn't use them, so might as well.
Fox owns them. So what are you gonna do with them? I guess. So the scene. Well, I'll let Michael chime in on this first.
Oh no, Mike covered it pretty well. It's just
okay.
We get the final payoff of you didn't see that coming, and then he just kind of collapses.
Yeah, I could care less about this guy. I really could. I could care less. I didn't care less 5 years ago, and I don't care less now. Not because of the actor, the performance. He's been in like 5 scenes. We've seen him go fast and do fast things. It's a very disposable throwaway character. They try to set it up with a heroic death. It's fine. He saves Hawkeye, which I think probably at the time I was like, oh, God, really? He's still here?
It should have been Hawkeye.
It should have been Hawkeye, I guess.
Hawkeye is the one that you're building up this entire time. It should have been him.
It should have. I guess. It probably should have been him. I do like the look on his face when he turns behind. He sees the kid. He kind of has this like look of, I'm not gonna make it out of here.
Yeah.
Like he kind of just like sighs and goes,
I really thought they were gonna kill him.
And he just runs. And again, I think the energy behind it was, man, I really think you're right. It was, I'm not gonna make it out of here. But this is who I am. This is who we are. We said no one gets left behind. I have no right to sit on here and fly away when the kid's gonna be about murdered by a murder robot. So I think it's okay. The kid has a very the Quicksilver has a very respectful death. Of course, Hawkeye brings him back on the ship. They all wait for him because, got to wait for him. And that's it. And then he lays down on the cargo ship. And I actually thought like, ooh, like maybe That looks like he's gonna die, but I know he's not, obviously. But like he lays down. It's like from above shot that's kind of coming back slowly. It's a
And
cool moment. Yeah, it's a cool moment. But again, I could care less about the kid who gets killed laterally.
No, it should have been Hawkeye because they built it up in this entire movie. It really should have been him. I like Hawkeye, but still.
We skipped over the scene of after Scarlet Witch comes out of the building and tears up all the bots. Quicksilver comes in and they speed off. He's like, "Keep up, old man." Hawkeye draws his bow. It's like, I could shoot him right now. No one would know.
I saw Ultron sitting on him.
Last I saw Ultron's on him. I think that was an ad lib, and they just decided to keep it in.
It's wonderful. My wife actually mentioned it this morning. She's like, "Yeah, that's really funny when he comes out," and it's like, I could do it right here. Very funny. Again, personable. I actually see some personality from him. Yeah. Finally, some depth, some interest. I walked away. Like I said, man, I now like Hawkeye.
I'd say that during the series. I miss him already. That's good stuff.
And then you have a brief scene because it's Hulk that puts Natalie or Black Widow on the helicarrier and then jumps off and pulls Ultron out of the Quinjet.
Yeah, he's done with his shenanigans
and leaves, which we'll talk about a little bit more because it's in the ending. And then you also at the same time you have Tony is trying to figure out how to stop this island. So they come up with the idea that he's going to go below it, cut a hole into the core, and at the bottom of the core, and shoot it. And then the idea is that Thor will then lighten the top of the core. Yeah, so that's the idea. And I like how Scarlet Witch is Guardian, but after her brother dies, she flips out and then she leaves. Like she's the reason that this thing goes in overdrive because she's like, "Oh, you killed my brother. Well, time to go," and she just leaves.
Yeah, her meltdown's pretty unreal too. Where she falls to her knees and just sends out that shockwave. Basically disintegrates all the robots that are near her. Like her powers are insane.
So Bill, what did you think about the part when she finds Ultron and pulls out his metal heart? Because a robot's got to have a heart.
I thought it was effective enough. I was fine. I really liked it. It was cool. It was a cathartic moment for her. It was earned as much as it could be given how little time she has in the movie. I actually liked it. It was fine. Does a robot have to have a metal heart? Well, no, but it's a movie-ass movie. I'll take it. It's fine. You can have a robot heart. It was cool. It was kind of like a little gross. Threw it out there. Nice. I liked it. I was very cathartic. And again, it was earned. Her brother's gone. It was after her brother dies, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, you can't stay here or you'll die. She's like, I just died. You know how it felt like? It felt like that.
Yeah, rip me. Yeah, it's a little bit like an Arnold Schwarzenegger line, from like a Commando. But I was fine with it. I thought it was well executed. She was very good. Yeah, I was into it.
And you have a brief part where all of a sudden the island starts because while she's away, one of the Ultron bots hits a button, and then the land switches and now is shooting down to Earth. And it doesn't take very long before Tony and Thor do their thing and split the entire island in pieces to stop it.
You got Vision saving Wanda during all that, where he's flying through all the debris. It's pretty cool.
That's foreshadowing for other later movies.
Yep,
sure is.
Sets up the couple.
And then you have Hulk sitting in the plane, and you have Nat trying to talk to him. She's like, "Hulk, you got to turn off your stealth mode. We can't track you." And then he's like, he just ends the communication, and then Hulk goes away. That's the last you see of Hulk for years until you get Thor Ragnarok.
Going to Sakaar.
That's it. I don't remember why he goes there, but he goes there. And
hey, don't worry, the movie doesn't tell us. So
I don't think it does it?
No,
it just shows up. Hulk decides, no, I cannot hurt the people I love, and he's in control enough of Hulk. I always read that as like, I need to go somewhere and get control, right? Maybe I'll come back, maybe not. But he knows he cannot be there right now. He's like, I'm too dangerous. I'm too volatile. No, and I don't care how much the script says I should love you, Black Widow.
I really do like the scene where the last Ultron bot has escaped and is standing on this like random forest, and Vision comes down to him, and they have that little talk right before he just blows the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that.
Talking about how they're never going to destroy themselves. He was basically doing them a favor. It's like, yeah, something's not beautiful because it lasts.
Yeah.
And then he tells them how naive he is. Well, I was just born yesterday.
Which is such a lovely line. And he also even says, Paul, he goes, Vision's like, humans are odd, but like, it's almost like two superior beings conversing over these over their ideologies of, again, Ultron thinking, but they're worthless. They need to go. And like you said, it's a beautiful line. He's like, nothing, things aren't beautiful because they last, or something along those lines. Like, eventually they're going to destroy themselves. And Vision knows this. Vision's like, yeah, they probably will, but they don't need to go right now, right? Because again, he's on the side of life. You don't get to hasten that. And anytime Vision's on screen, I love. I think he is so good and so interesting. And he doesn't have a lot of screen time, obviously, but every scene he's in is fantastic. And he just finally, and then Ultron just rushes him because that's what the program says to do. He's got to rush him. Go out with the bang. He's not going to sit there and get destroyed. And Vision just Mind Stone zaps him, and that's the end of that.
And then Hawkeye shows up at his farm and kisses his wife, and she didn't know he was alive because he didn't know what a cell phone was, so she never called her. Like, there's that scene you can tell where she didn't know he was coming. I'm like thinking to myself, wouldn't you call her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey,
I mean, it's not instantaneous trip home. She's probably a little worried.
Yeah. Hey, hun. I wait till you hear about the day I had today. I mean, look, I was on the city. It took off. I yelled at a witch. Look, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Maybe we'll go to dinner tonight, and then we'll do that.
So when that scene started, I started to write in my notes that little Nathan Barton's middle name is probably Pietro now.
It is.
And actually it's on the bib they show later on that it says Pietro. Aw, that's
Aw, I didn't catch that.
And I didn't until I read Easter eggs either, so don't feel bad.
I don't.
Good. And then you get to see the new Avenger facility, which I like. I like the new building that they get a lot. I'm a big fan of this.
Mm-hmm. Is this the same one we're going to see in Ant-Man?
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot about that scene.
Oh, my bad.
I know, I'm a little upset right now because I would have came in that movie completely almost blind. Damn you.
All right.
But yes, it is. And this, I like it when you have Tony and them talking, and Tony's like, hey, the Avengers are yours. I'm done. I got to go. Thor's like, hey, I got to go figure out what's going on with those Infinity Stones because, Loki talked to me. I mean, that's not in the line, but that's in the deleted scene. And you see him leave, so he takes off. Oh, now I see the bib. So he takes off. Iron Man takes off, and you just have Captain America and Black Widow, and Selvig is there, and they're like, okay, we got the new team to show you. And I do like this little scene where it shows you the new team, which is Black Widow, Vision, War Machine,
Falcon,
Captain America. I forget somebody?
Falcon. You know why you forgot? He's not in the movie. Like, this is his only appearance.
2 parts.
No, 2 parts, right. Where did he come from? Like, why was he sitting at home doing nothing while this entire city was plummeting towards Earth?
I know.
Let me guess how much did he get cut out a ton of this one too? I guess.
I don't know, but that's possible. I was wondering why he didn't. He could have at least showed up like, hey, and grab some civilians, something so simple. But they're like, no, we don't got time for that.
He's chasing out leads on the missing persons case.
And
I guess.
Two things I want to mention. One, Scarlet Witch's costume in the very end of this movie is much closer to her real costume, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
Also, Falcon's costume has more red in it,
mm-hmm.
too. But the thing that we have to mention, there is something wrong in the very brief second where Scarlet Witch comes down, it's kind of like teleporting down almost. You can see her face, and there's something wrong with the CG.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Elizabeth Olsen. It looks like someone else.
Really?
I just figured it was the angle that they're shot at. It definitely, I had to rewind and that looked
really?
Like
I didn't notice this. I gotta watch it again now. How funny.
I have the image right in front of my face. So I was gonna say, what's your email, but I don't want to do that over here. But so yeah. I'll send it to you afterwards when we get done recording. But yeah, you can see exactly what we're talking about. Oh, a couple quick things that I want to mention that was deleted from this movie. Apparently, there was a Captain Marvel scene that was supposed to be in this movie too.
Whoa.
A very brief one showing that she existed.
Wow. Okay.
So I mean, they deleted a ton of shit.
Wow. Okay.
Which, I mean, I'm okay with that, but you can tell there was stuff missing from this movie.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw this, I was really bummed out. And again, if you remember from 2 hours ago, it was 2 a.m.
I do not.
I was tired. Everyone was tired. And I remember seeing this last thing, and it's just, forgive me if I'm wrong. I think you just rattled them off. But so we lose Hulk, Tony Stark, we lose Thor, and we lose Hawkeye. Those guys aren't coming back. They're Dunsky. We end up with Captain America, who I didn't really like that much at the time. We end up with Black Widow, who I thought was one of the least interesting characters in the MCU. Scarlet Witch, who are you? War Machine, who are you? Falcon, who are you? And Vision, you're new. you walk away with like, this Avengers team stinks. I walked away like, these guys, why do we, I remember specifically saying this. We now have the B squad. Like, why all the cool characters like Thor and Iron Man and Hulk, like these are the core, they're all gone. And then I think, like, did their contracts expire? Like, are they like no longer going to do these movies? So I remember hating it at the end. Now in hindsight, it makes more sense. People come back, et cetera, but it's a very strange choice to present these people as like the new Avengers because nobody really knows who they are. Maybe as a group, they've had a total of 20 minutes screen time, like not much. Again, this was a Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Bruce Banner movie, really. I mean, those are the emotional core of this. And yeah, so I remember hating this ending. Now I can't divorce myself from knowing what comes next.
Okay,
But
I was wrong. It wasn't Fox that didn't let them have Quicksilver. Apparently, as I found all the deleted scenes I've been posting in chat. A scene was shot of Quicksilver surviving his wounds, as well as footage of him in a new costume at the new Avengers facility, in case Disney overruled Joss Whedon's decision to kill him off.
Oh.
wow. Okay. Well,
Fuck you, Joss Whedon.
Dick
Fuck
move,
you.
Joss.
Because you know what? I don't even, I like this movie more, but I don't like you anymore. So fuck you, Joss Whedon.
wow.
Yeah, I
well,
knew-
hey, I can't begrudge a guy for making a creative decision. Like if
Hawkeye.
yeah.
I like Hawkeye. You don't need to be in this movie.
Well, I like him now. I like him
and
quite a bit.
also, they're like right in the very end after you see the Avengers, he goes, Avengers! And he just stops talking. He was supposed to say Avengers Assemble, but Joss Whedon would not put it in the movie.
Yep.
Really? I was waiting for Assemble.
They wouldn't even let Chris Evans record that line because he didn't want them to use it. So I don't think we actually hear Avengers Assemble until the end of Endgame.
Yep.
Wait a minute. So
I was like, when we get there.
So wow. So he just decided, no, we cannot have this line. Don't even say it. Don't even think it. Don't write it in the script. Wow. So what does he say? He says Avengers something.
And then it cuts to credits.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's about to say Avengers, and you just stop.
I guess it's kind of silly. I mean, they're all assembled. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That'd be a terrible Joss Whedon ending. If like you go Avengers Assemble, and they all kind of smush together a little closer, and then boom, cut to credits.
And speaking of the deleted scenes, I found a thing, and there's a couple here that were missing. Thor and Eric Selvig, when they go to the water site, they are greeted by a Norn, some princess or something who possesses Thor and answers Selvig's questions through him. The Norn tells Selvig that Ultron has the Mind Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones, completely missing. And Tom Hiddleston shot a cameo as Loki in Thor's Dream. That's what I talked about earlier. We didn't reveal we even had a little reference to the fact that he's taken the throne, which was Tom's doing his Anthony Hopkins impression when Thor says, "Oh, what would Father say?" Then Tom does his Hopkins impression, and Thor's like, "That is uncanny." It's sort of like his subconscious telling him that Loki was imitating his father, but he would never make that connection. But so again, more scenes of what happened in Thor: Dark World, and both those should have been in the movie. And another one that's really important to me: Von Strucker walks into his jail cell and is killed by an off-screen Ultron that they completely skip.
Okay.
And there's a scene of Maria Hill and Captain America talking about it that was also cut out.
Well, we can't see people die. We've already established that. Man of Steel ruined
just
people
Quicksilver.
Just Quicksilver. Yeah, just Quicksilver. Yeah, just this young kid. Like
Joss Whedon's like, nah.
Interesting. Imagine that actor actually putting on that suit and like laying there and doing those scenes and having oh man, I might be in an Avenger movie. This is a series, this is a franchise, this is a steady paycheck. No. You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna keep Hawkeye. You're done. Sorry, this sucks.
And we have one last thing to mention about the movie before we go to Shelf or Box. We have the after credit scene.
Oh yes.
Nothing to build back in. There, yeah, you're right. There is no after credit scene. I stayed and there was nothing.
Me too. In the theater at 2 a.m. I remember being really pissed off. My wife's like, "What are we doing here still? What are we doing here?"
One midnight release, and it was from Matrix Reloaded, and I hated every second of it.
Not fun. They're not good.
Because you
the movie's fine, but
it's not.
Ugh.
Well, it's funny because I remember sitting there in the chair and everyone's leaving. It's opening weekend, so we don't know. Nobody really knows. And we're sitting there, and even my friend does leave. I don't know what he was doing. He should have been like, "Guys, no, we should go. There's no end credits. I already know this." But he knew. He let me sit there. And my wife at the end was like, she's saying, "Oh God, really? Come on. What are we sitting here for?" I'm like, "It's more of a movie. It's gonna be an end credit scene. And there's other people. An end credit scene."
You're no longer friends with him anymore?
No, we're dear friends. I still go see movies with him, and that's it. The Avengers will return. My wife turns to me. She was so pissed.
Talked
But
about yet
rightfully
how
so.
Marvel has ruined all movie credits because like everyone stays to the end of every movie now just in case.
It's really what you have to do at this point. But there are some glorious ones. Anyway,
And the after credit scene, if Thanos shows up, he's like, "I'll do it myself," and he grabs the gauntlet.
Yeah, it's like 4 seconds long.
Yeah, which doesn't mean anything to us for another 9 movies, I think.
That it. Yeah, and guess what I said when I saw that?
Who?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's the purple guy? I don't know. He's got a gauntlet. That's great. What does that mean to anybody? And then of course people in the audience are like, oh,
I was.
I know. That's all right. I respect that. I just didn't have any frame of reference. But yeah, that's the end. That's the mid-credit scene, and then fade to black. Go to your cars, head home, go to sleep. It's 2 a.m.
For me, it was turn off the TV and go for a swim and get ready to record this because I just finished this morning.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah, I had a long night last night and I didn't get around to it, and I forced myself to watch it this morning.
Awesome. Shall we shelf our box?
We should shelf our box. And Mike, since you were the champion about this movie and the whole reason you're even on this, ended up doing this with me and everything else that happened afterwards, why don't you go first?
Well, it's nice to know that I wasn't wrong all this time. Like, if you guys haven't figured it out, but through me gushing through this whole episode, I love this movie. Like even last night, it's like, oh man, it's such a fun ride. Humor lands almost all the time. Probably solid 85-90%, I would say.
50% of the time, every time.
All the time, yeah.
Like
the action's great. It's nice to see Hawkeye get some love and all that. But it's good. It's awesome. If you're one of those people that hated this movie or talks down on it, give it another watch. You might be surprised. I think we're about to hear 2 other people say. But it is going on the shelf, of course.
Okay. I mean, I already knew that. Bill, what about you?
Oh, this is a shelf. This is awesome. I'm so pleasantly surprised when my preconceived notions are shattered. I do like that. I like when something I didn't like very much becomes something I really, really dig. And even if it's something I really liked, I don't like. It's interesting to see how that change happens. This is an extremely effective bridge movie. This has to do a lot of work, like I said at the open, and it handles nearly everything very well. Has some bumps, right? I don't like the Black Widow, Hulk relationship. I really hope the idea was that, she was just manipulating him all along to help him grow as a monster. I don't think so. But the action is fine. It's very varied and interesting. They do a lot with Ultron, who is an excellent villain. And again, I thought that 5 years ago, and I still think that now. The performances are good. Yeah, it's got some hiccups, but man, I really enjoyed my time with it, and I'm very glad I can say it goes on the shelf. And I apologize to you, Hawkeye. I apologize. I really do sincerely apologize for all the bad things I've said about you over the last how many podcasts now? 10? I don't know. I said some mean things, and I'm sorry. Movie. I don't love this movie, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm very glad this show allowed me to see it again, because I would have spent the rest of my life saying, the Ultron movie is not very good. Now I can be on Michael's side and say, you know what? Damn good movie. So shelf it is.
All right. I'll go last. I'm actually I have been talking shit about this movie for months at this point, and I had watched it when I first got Disney Plus in December of 2019, I want to say, or January, and I'm like, it's okay. I didn't really enjoy it. I thought I hadn't seen this in theaters, and so I came into the movie not expecting much. I had low hopes, and I'm watching. I'm like, I'm entertained. I want to know what the hell. I'm enjoying myself. And as I kept watching this movie, I realized this ain't so bad. It's kind of depressing at times, but it's meant to be. It's setting up things that are going to come, but overall, I enjoyed it as a movie. I actually enjoyed it more than the first Avengers in this watch through of all these movies, and I don't understand. That part just baffles me to no end. So yeah, I'm really glad I watched it. It's going on the shelf, and I will be strangely recommending it to people now, and I don't know why. So
that's awesome. That makes me happy.
I know Michael's probably like, yes, vindication.
Not what I expected. Not at all. Yeah, cause I think we kind of been joking. We talked about a little bit before, when we first started this, MCU thing, I got Bill to sign up for me, and I'm like, I need a third person. And then Mike was like, well, when you do Age of Ultron, I'm like, well, why don't you join us? And because of Age of Ultron, he ended up doing 11 of these so far with us, with only 11 to go. No, 12 to go.
Okay.
Oh God, we're not even halfway.
Well, we are.
No,
we can say
we're
halfway.
not.
We're not halfway yet. But
And
no,
even less so because all the movies get super long from here.
Well,
couple of them do.
actually, no. Like, Guardians isn't very long. Ant-Man is short. I was looking at the runtimes of all these things. Ant-Man is that's like a breakfast snack.
Well, speaking of Ant-Man, that's our next movie for next
is it
episode.
now?
The Ant-Man.
Oh, that's right. Look at that.
So-
Segue.
Not a purpose like that.
117 minutes.
Oh.
Not bad.
Okay, we need to wrap up this. We need to wrap up this podcast. So stay tuned for Ant-Man. And if you like the show, we've done 10 other MCU movies, so check those out because they need more love, and they're good and they're fun, and we get really good at doing this after a while. So, and if you like those, check out also our Games My Mom Fun. So we have games episodes we do every week. We even do mini episodes every so often. There's at least one published at this time that I'm aware of by the time you hear this. Maybe more. We do a few comic episodes. We do just random shit all the time. Like we did Percy Jackson, for God's sake, which is definitely published by this point. So
For the
check
DS.
all those out. And the movie. So listen to all those episodes. Check us out. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm constantly posting images and letting people know what's coming out. If you like our intro and outro, courtesy of Bulby, aka Mike Stoney from his EP Bite the Bullet, Song is Cool as Good Squat. You can check him out, or you can find the link to his channel, the YouTube channel, in the show notes. I want to thank Bill and Mike for sitting through with 11 movies so far with me of this shit.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
We're almost
No
done
problem.
with phase 2.
Good
So,
times.
We will see you guys all next week.
Remember,
everybody.
if you put a hammer in an elevator and send it up, that doesn't mean the elevator's worthy.
Thanks a lot, guys.